Chapter 1591. It won't be long before you know how I, Su Fong, treat my subordinates. At the very least, I, Su Fong, won't be like other masters, sacrificing my subordinates as cannon fodder. But if they betray me, I, Su Fong, am not a merciful person. Return to Xianlin Dao sect and continue to be the sovereign. Remember, if there's any news about that deity from the myriad worlds, contact me immediately. After Su Fong warned him, he let Venerable Xianlin go. Venerable Xianlin was the sovereign of one of the 81 Dao sects of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect. He was proficient in the great Dao of array formations. At this moment, he had become a slave powerhouse under him. Su Fong was also very unhappy. But Su Fong also knew very well that if he wanted to make Venerable Xianlin truly loyal to him, he still needed some methods. For the time being, he couldn't completely trust him. He still had to be wary of him. The apocalypse that swept through the great world might erupt at any moment. There's also that clansman of Zunluo. My current strength is far from enough. Su Fong pondered for a moment, and then his eyes revealed a decisive look. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Under Su Fong's full control, the yellow spring blood sea boiled and roared. It crazily devoured the golden core of the Lord of Thunder Night Island and the corpse of Dao Venerable Divine Furnace to break through to the peak of the 9 Dao realm of the Saint Immortal Realm. Once he broke through to the peak of the 9 Dao realm of the Saint Immortal Realm, he would be able to step into the Dao realm and become a supreme being among immortals. Moreover, he wouldn't be an ordinary immortal supremacy. When Su Fong was at the Saint Immortal Realm, he could already kill immortal supremacies. Once he became an immortal supremacy, other than the peerless powerhouses at the peak of the Dao realm, no immortals in the great world would be able to threaten him. Of course, it was still difficult for Su Fong to fight against a supreme powerhouse like the first elder of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, who had 1 foot in the deity realm and a deity from the myriad worlds. Only with the help of the primordial chaos sacred mirror did he barely have the ability to protect himself. How terrifying was the power of the Lord of Thunder Night Island's golden core and the various powers and essence of Dao Venerable Divine Furnace. After being fused with the underworld blood sea, it ferociously attacked the blood water, causing the underworld blood sea to roar like a vast ocean. If it was in its physical state, it would have directly caused the body to explode. After so many years, I've absorbed all kinds of resources and cultivated the Yellow Springs Blood Sea. I'm about to reach the level of the Yellow Springs Great Emperor. In Su Fong's mind, the shocking scene of a sea of blood engulfing a Dao field appeared. His heart was filled with endless anticipation. When the Yellow Springs Blood Sea truly reached the level of the Yellow Springs Devil Emperor, even if he faced a supreme expert like the Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect's leader, he wouldn't be afraid. Not only was the Yellow Spring Blood Sea constantly undergoing astonishing transformations, but the golden core of the Master of Thunder Night Island contained a pure power of thunder, which was injected into the Yang Meridian by Su Fong. As a result, not only was the time it would take to successfully form the 47th Yang Meridian, Su Fong's Yang Meridian could also be used as a lightning meridian to cultivate. His Thunder Punishment true body had also improved tremendously. When the time came to fuse with the blood and water clone left by Xuanxin's side, his Thunder Punishment true body would not be far from maturing. Undead King catch. Su Fong extracted the refined life essence from the Yellow Springs Blood Sea and sent it to the Undead King. The Undead King, who was looking at Su Fong from above the Yellow Springs Blood Sea, was instantly overjoyed. A smile appeared on his pale face as he opened his mouth and sucked the life essence into his body. Divine Cauldron Dao Venerable was a supreme immortal venerable in the high-level Dao realm. The life essence contained in his body was incomparably vast. Su Fong couldn't devour it all by himself. By helping the Undead King to improve, he was also improving his own overall strength. If the second primordial spirit was still here, the immortal demon monster's body would definitely recover to the peak strength of Tsang Huan Immortal Venerable or Demon Venerable Ancient Ming when they devour divine, cauldron Tao Venerable's life essence. It might even have a breakthrough. I wonder how the second primordial spirit is now. Su Fong sighed. He summoned Gui, Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, Tongtian Demon Venerable, and other big goblin to devour divine cauldron Tao Venerable's life essence and improve their strength rapidly. At the same time, Su Fong also distributed the resources he found from divine cauldron Tao Venerable to his 300,000 elite subordinates. Su Fong settled down in his cultivation state. Time flew by quickly. About 50 years later, the bloody water tumbled, creating a tsunami-like sound. At this moment, the bloody water surface area had reached an astonishing 70,000 feet wide. It had the aura of a vast ocean. After the bloody water tumbled, Su Fong turned into his human form and flew out of the true dragon world. He left the cave abode and came to a mountain peak on the silent great planet. It's Shaozun. Greetings, Shaozun. On the mountain peak, there was a family that lived and cultivated here. It was one of the 12 major families on the silent great planet, the Duan family. When they saw Su Fong, the cultivators of the Duan family, including the Duan family patriarch, all came to greet him. It turned out that after 50 years of cultivation, Su Fong was finally about to break through the peak of the Saint Immortal realm and reach the Tao realm. Because he was worried that breaking through on the main peak of the silent great planet would disturb the silent great immortal, he randomly found a place. He didn't expect to come to the Duan family's territory. Leave this place. I want to break through here. Su Fong waved his hand. A portion of the true qi in his body had already turned into tribulation qi. Shaozun, it is the Duan family's great honor to be able to break through to the Tao realm in the Duan family. The Duan family patriarch cupped his fists at Su Fong. Then, he ordered the family members to quickly leave the mountain peak. Half an hour later, tribulation qi exploded from Su Fong's body. It was very shocking. After he formed a seal, his body exploded with a shocking reincarnation aura that swept out in all directions. The entire silent great planet felt this terrifying aura, which then surged into the depths of heaven and earth. In an instant, vast dark clouds appeared in the sky. They came from all directions, forming a force that covered the sky and the sun. What a shocking Tao realm heavenly tribulation! How can a saint immortal realm immortal withstand such a shocking heavenly tribulation? Shaozun is going through the tribulation. Why didn't the sovereign appear to protect him? What if he fails the tribulation? The younger members of the Duan family and the cultivators from other places on the silent great planet all paled when they saw this scene. Just the might of the heavenly tribulation alone was enough to make them tremble. As for the Duan family patriarch, who was a Tao realm expert, and the Duan family members who had witnessed Su Fong's strength, they knew that the Tao realm heavenly tribulation might be a little difficult for Su Fong, but it definitely wouldn't threaten Su Fong's life. The Great Tribulation of the Tao realm had a total of 9 catastrophes. Under the baptism of the heavenly tribulation, one would further comprehend the laws of the heavenly Tao, control the natural laws of heaven and earth, and use divine powers. Ordinary cultivators needed millions of years of accumulation to break through to the Tao realm. When breaking through to the Tao realm, the baptism of the heavenly tribulation was no longer power, but the baptism of the laws. One could only become a Tao realm expert after completing the transformation from absorbing and controlling the power of nature to comprehending and controlling the laws. Not only was this process extremely difficult, but it was also very dangerous. If one didn't settle down enough, there was a possibility of dying in the heavenly tribulation. However, to Su Fong, the heavenly tribulation of breaking through to the Tao realm was naturally nothing. He'd already cultivated the world tree and had some comprehension of the quintessence laws. The laws of the baptism of the heavenly tribulation were derived from the quintessence laws. Coupled with his strength, how could the heavenly tribulation that was equivalent to the initial stage of the Tao realm threaten him? Su Fong didn't even use his full strength. He sealed up all his other auras and used the 4 seasons samsara seal and nether spring samsara might to deal with the heavenly tribulation. Su Fong had his own reasons for choosing the samsara might. He'd inherited the nether spring Grand Emperor's nether spring samsara technique and cultivated the Jihong Immortal Exalt's 4 seasons samsara seal. He wanted to use the heavenly tribulation this time to vent his rage towards the heavenly Tao for the nether spring Grand Emperor who'd perished from the punishment of the heavens. At the same time, he wanted to use this method to express his acknowledgement and respect towards his master, the Jihong Immortal Exalt. The first wave of the heavenly tribulation descended. The aura of the heavenly tribulation contained the aura of the Grand Tao that circulated the laws of the heavenly Tao, and it caused any Saint Immortal Realm cultivator to feel powerless to resist it. However, no matter how formidable the Tao Realm tribulation was, it was only at the initial stage of the Tao Realm. On the other hand, even though Su Fong was at the 9th Tao Realm of the Saint Immortal Realm, his true strength had already attained the shocking level of the advanced stage of the Tao Realm. So why would he be afraid? After he formed the seal, a strand of sword chi that carried the samsara might rose into the sky and collided with the first level of the heavenly tribulation. Bang! The first level of the heavenly tribulation was instantly shattered under the samsara might, and it transformed into countless pieces of tribulation flame that dispersed into the surroundings. The second level of the heavenly tribulation arrived successively, and it became even more violent and overbearing. However, Su Fong still easily executed the samsara sword chi to shatter the second level of the heavenly tribulation. Su Fong seemed to be in a carefree state. How did it seem like he was overcoming a tribulation? Everyone who saw this scene was extremely shocked. The Duan clan leader, who originally thought that the heavenly tribulation would bring some trouble to Su Fong, was also dumbfounded. The following heavenly tribulations were each more terrifying than the last. Su Fong had no choice but to use a portion of his strength. Not only did he activate the samsara might, but he also executed the 4 seasons samsara seal to shatter the heavenly tribulation. Whoosh! A wave of baptism power transformed into an auspicious aura that swept away the violent aura of the heavenly tribulation. Su Fong immediately absorbed this baptism power and began to advance. Chi! 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 Su Fong's tribulation flames spewed out, and the power of advancement swept through his body. Then, a flame with a heaven-defying aura appeared, causing Su Fong to feel as if he had been reborn from the flames. His body had undergone earth-shattering changes from the inside out. At this moment, Su Fong's skin, every strand of hair, and then to his meridians, physical body, golden core origin, divine aperture, dermic power ocean, and yang immortal had undergone an astonishing transformation. His various true body abilities had also reached a new height. Tao Realm. Cultivators below the Saint Immortal Realm used the essence of heaven and earth and the power of the stars to borrow the power of heaven and earth. They used their true chi and the power of the world to borrow the power of heaven and earth. Tao Realm, on the other hand, began to come into contact with the laws of the operation of the natural power of heaven and earth, going from the surface to the root. Su Fong felt as if he had become one with the nature of heaven and earth. At this moment, his communication with the nature of heaven and earth had reached an unprecedented level. It was not just communication, but a kind of fusion. After stepping into the Tao Realm, not only did his strength undergo a great transformation, but his cultivation of the world also began to reach a higher level. Having just advanced to the Tao Realm, the true chi in his body became empty. Su Fong began to devour pills to stabilize his realm and reach the normal state of the early stage of the Tao Realm as soon as possible. == Our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1592. Tao Realm. Xiao Zun reached the Tao Realm so easily. Xiao Zun was able to defeat Ming Yen, the demon race's saint, when he was a saint immortal. Ming Yan's strength is almost as strong as the sovereign. Now that Xiao Zun has reached the Tao Realm, Doesn't that mean he's stronger than the sovereign? I heard that Shao Zun has cultivated for less than 10,000 years. He's such a peerless figure, not only in the immortal Tao, but also in the demon realm and the Yao realm. Who can compare to him? There's a lot of discussion on the solitary great planet, a Tao realm cultivator who has cultivated for more than 2,000 years. Not only in the great world, it is also rare in the myriad worlds. This disciple of mine is simply heaven-defying. On the main peak of the solitary great star, the honorable immortal Jihong sighed. His eyes were shining with a gratified light. Then, the solitary great immortal smiled wryly. Su Feng's strength has already surpassed this clone of mine. As his master, I feel very ashamed. At this moment, clang, clang, clang equals N_R. A solemn bell rang from the celestial destiny land. The bell contained the power of the heavenly Tao. It could be heard clearly in every corner of the 81 dojos of the celestial destiny Haotsong sect. The bell rang 81 times in total. The solitary great immortal's eyes flashed. He left his cave abode and came to the sky of the solitary great planet. He looked in the direction of the celestial destiny land. 81 rings of the celestial destiny bell means something that threatens the life and death of the sect. Something like this hasn't happened in the celestial destiny Haotsong sect for millions of years. What happened? The celestial destiny Haotsong sect is the leader of the immortal Tao. It represents the great world and controls the great world. What could threaten the safety of the celestial destiny Haotsong sect? The cultivators of the Ji Great Dojo were incomparably shocked and astonished. Su Feng, who was sitting cross-legged on the peak, suddenly opened his eyes. He came to the solitary great immortal's side. He had already guessed what had happened. His heart suddenly became heavy. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Countless cultivators flew out from each of the palaces and stared at the depths of the celestial land with a serious expression. It felt like the end of the world was coming. All grand elders and elders of the heavenly fate Hao Tsang sect who are special disciples and above are to gather outside the meeting hall in 3 days. The dignified voice of the leader of the Tianming Hao Tsang sect spread across all the dojos in an instant. Everyone was guessing what had happened. Many people knew that apart from the demons and the resurrected powerhouses, there was nothing else that could threaten the life and death of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. Several hundred years ago, the world underwent another upheaval. When the fifth evil sun rose into the sky, the heavens mandate Hao Tsang sect's fatal threat had already descended. It was just that it hadn't erupted until now. The good days of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect have come to an end. Not only the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, but the entire great world. Let's go. The Jihong immortal venerable sighed and left with Su Feng in embarrassment. Right at this moment, in the depths of the celestial destiny land, where the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect had the most power, the leader of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect and all the grand elders gathered in a hall. A few months ago, the forces formed by the demons and the resurrected powerhouses suddenly emerged from the hidden dark world and the immortal realms that the demons had previously occupied. The forces of the demons that had been hiding in the immortal Tao world suddenly surfaced as well. They've surrounded the central immortal realms. According to the news that we've received, countless powerhouses have appeared among the demons, especially some of the ancient demons that had been sealed. There are also countless immortals and demons that have been resurrected from the immortal demon battlefield. They're extremely powerful. Wherever they go, no one can stop the demons. Countless immortal realms have been reduced to wastelands. Just now, I received news that the Grand Elder that the sect had sent to guard the Aeon Wilderness Great World, Tao Venerable Yang Ming, has died. The leader of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect said slowly, Tao Venerable Yang Ming has died. All the great elders were shocked, and their faces turned pale in an instant. Tao Venerable Yang Ming was the #1 Grand Elder of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. His strength was on the same level as the leader of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect. They were both at the peak of the advanced Tao realm and had once competed with the current leader for the position of sect master. His strength and status were second only to the leader in the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. When the world underwent the fourth upheaval, the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect had no choice but to compromise with the demons and tacitly acknowledge the immortal Tao world as their sphere of influence. Tao Venerable Yangming was sent to the immortal realm that bordered the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect and the demon sphere of influence to intimidate the demons. Naturally, this was also a decision made by the sect master in order to eliminate dissidents. A peak Tao realm powerhouse was already in absolute peak existence in the great world. There is almost no danger that could threaten such a powerhouse. Even if he encountered a strong enemy, it would be very difficult to kill him if he focused on escaping. Now that Tao Venerable Yangming had been killed by a demon powerhouse, the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was naturally shocked beyond words. If the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect hadn't repeatedly compromised with the demons and ceded a dozen immortal domains to them, allowing them to quickly recover from the previous great war of immortals and demons, how could this have happened? A grand elder said angrily. Some of the grand elders nodded in agreement. The demons became so strong because of the upheaval. What does it have to do with the sect's decision? Moreover, those immortal domains aren't under the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect's sphere of influence. Ceding them to the demons and winning peace for the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect is quite worth it. How can you question the sect master's decision? Another grand elder refuted. Naturally, he was on the sect master's side. The sect master said sternly, "Enough." The hall immediately quieted down. The sect master continued, "I am also extremely saddened by the death of Grand Elder Yangming. Now that the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect is facing a life and death crisis, this is not the time to debate who was right and who was wrong in the past. Instead, we should discuss how to deal with the current situation." After a moment of silence, a grand elder said, "The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect must enter a state of preparation for war. This is certain. However, the demons are too strong for the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect to contend against. If necessary, we will hand over a part of the immortal domains to the demons." Another grand elder shouted angrily, "Shut up! The demons are already at the doorstep of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. Yet you want to compromise and beg for mercy from the demons. You are truly shameless to the extreme." Humph! The upheaval mandate Haotsong sect has caused the upheaval mandate Haotsong sect to be suppressed by the power of the evil sun. Moreover, countless evil powerhouses have been resurrected. It is like the end of the world. It is already very difficult for the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect to be able to protect itself. How can it have the strength to care about the other immortal domains? The dozen grand elders were divided into two factions. One faction wanted to fight, and the other faction wanted to surrender. They quarreled with each other. The hall was very lively. There were also a few grand elders who couldn't help but sigh after seeing this scene. The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect was finished. The immortal Tao world was also finished. Just as the argument was going on, a supreme divine power enveloped the hall. It was as if the will of the heavenly Tao had descended. The peerless experts in the hall all trembled under this pressure. Their hearts were filled with reverence. The sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect stood up from his seat and bowed to the void with cupped fists. "Grand Elder." The other grand elders bowed one after another. They didn't even dare to breathe loudly. They were all trembling with fear. "Fight!" A voice came from a void. Although it was only a short word, it was like the voice of the heavenly Tao. Everyone had no choice but to obey its will. After the Supreme Elder issued a decree, the terrifying pressure disappeared without a trace, and the voice no longer sounded. The sect master of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect had a flash of determination in his eyes. He said majestically, "The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect and the demons, resurrected experts, fight to the death equals and underscore one." Yes, the grand elders responded in unison. However, their expressions were different. Some were hale and hearty, while others were worried. "Why don't I see divine furnace?" The sect master frowned when he didn't hear Divine Furnace Tao Venerate's voice among the Grand Elders. Only then did everyone notice that Divine Furnace Tao Venerate was the only one who didn't appear. They couldn't help but be surprised. He must still be in seclusion in the dojo. Go and call him out. This battle concerns the survival of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect. Everyone in the sect, from the Daozi and Grand Elders to the ordinary disciples, must participate in this battle. 3 days later, 30,000 people gathered in the square outside the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect's conference hall. The Grand Elders and Elders of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, as well as the sovereigns and special disciples of the 81 dojos, were all present. As the Daozi of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, Su Fong and Dao Hongtian were the candidates for the next sect master. Their statuses were noble and they stood at the front. Even the Grand Elders were behind them. Everyone, the sect master of the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, appeared in front of the crowd and swept his stern gaze across them. The divine aura of a peak Tao realm powerhouse enveloped the entire square, causing the square to fall silent. Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect, the immortal Tao world has reached a critical juncture of life and death. The apocalypse of the great world has arrived at the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect. The sect master said slowly. After forming a seal, a Xian Guang bloomed from the sect master's palms and condensed into a 300-meter-tall image in the air. The scene of the demon race invading the immortal realm was shown. A royal city of the immortal world was crowded with people and carriages. It was a scene of peace and prosperity. Above the city, there seemed to be an invisible hand clawing viciously at the void, tearing a huge crack in the void. It was as if a monster had suddenly opened its ferocious maw. Dark demonic chi billowed out of the crack as groups of demonic cultivators charged out with savage laughter. They broke through the outer boundary of the immortal world and slaughtered their way into the city. Houses and buildings were destroyed one after another. Immortals perished one after another, their corpses devoured by the demonic cultivators. The demon cultivators didn't even spare the women and children. Some of the female cultivators were captured and raped by the demon cultivators on the spot. Some were shackled and used as tools for reproduction. The crying children were devoured by the demon cultivators or gluttonous devils on the spot. Some pregnant women were even plucked out of their bellies and tossed around by the demonic cultivators. After toying with them for a while, they were thrown to the Gorb Devil for consumption. Countless immortals, including some sage immortals and Tao realm powerhouses, were refined into pills that could increase their cultivation through all sorts of evil and cruel methods. This scene set the square ablaze with fury. The hatred of countless people gathered together and turned into a surge of fury that soared into the sky, causing even the firmament to change color. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1593. It wasn't just an immortal city or an immortal world, but immortal realms that were being swept up by the demon army. It wasn't just the cultivators and commoners of the immortal path who were being slaughtered, but all life in the immortal world and immortal realms. Every time the demons conquered an immortal world, they would use their forbidden arts to control the world's origin and create a great formation to devour all life in the immortal world, turning it into a wasteland. Su Fong's eyes burned with the flames of hatred when he saw this. This scene had played out in the square Heaven Great Realm before, but it hadn't been so tragic. Besides Su Fong, blood seeped out of Dao Hongtian's eyes, which had been shut for eternity. The flames of hatred and anger burned fiercely in the square, enough to incinerate the heavens. Suddenly, the scene of an immortal cultivator fighting against a demon cultivator and a resurrected cultivator appeared on the screen, created by the sect leader of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. It was a tall and mighty elder with thick eyebrows and handsome eyes that flashed like lightning. He was as upright as a mountain, looking down on the god of death with disdain. Judging from his aura and explosive momentum, he was a peak Tao realm cultivator on par with the sect leader of the Heavenly Fate Haotsong sect. Su Fong knew this person's identity from the exclamations around him. He was the first elder of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, Dao Master Yongming. Dao Master Yongming unleashed his mystique and engaged in an earth-shattering battle with 4 powerful enemies. Heaven and earth shook, and the void collapsed and shattered everywhere. Among the 4 powerful enemies, there was a demon cultivator in a blood-red robe, a resurrected blood demon, a resurrected immortal who exuded a strong aura of death, and a Buddhist cultivator. However, his aura wasn't the holy aura of Buddhism, but the same aura of death and violence as the resurrected immortal. His body flashed with a deathly gray Buddhist light. The 4 demons were all at the peak of the Tao realm, and they surrounded Dao Master Yongming. However, Dao Master Yongming fought to the death without retreating. He was like a god of war with a fearless aura. He fought against 4 enemies of the same level as him alone, and he didn't seem to be at a disadvantage at all. Chi, a gigantic demonic eye formed from the void. It was deep and evil, and it shot out a ray of demonic light that enveloped holy man Yongming. The Yongming holy man was instantly shackled. His aura was shattered layer by layer within the demonic light. Finally, under the ferocious attacks of the 4 powerful enemies, he was severely injured. However, if he wanted to escape, there was still a chance. The heavens are about to die, and the 3 realms are about to be destroyed. I, Yongming, do not believe it. In the previous great immortal and devil wars, blood flowed like rivers. Countless immortal Tao warriors fought dauntlessly. This war will begin with me, Yongming. I hope that my life can awaken the bloodthirst of the immortal Tao, and I vow to fight the devil race to the death. The Yongming holy man suddenly laughed loudly. After a moment of silence, a destructive energy exploded from his body. It was as if a divine sun had exploded in the sky, and a terrifying energy swept out in all directions. Among the 4 demons, the resurrected blood demon was incinerated by the power of bright sun holy man's self-destruction, leaving not a trace of life behind. The demon was also severely injured, and the other 2 resurrected demons were also severely injured. Even the eye in the void shattered along with the void. The scene was blank, and the square was deathly silent. However, in the next moment, a hot-blooded voice boomed from the bodies of the cultivators. The heavenly fate Haotsong sect master said in a low voice, "Bright Sun Holy Man is my senior brother. If he is willing to die, what I have to fear? Why should the heavenly fate Haotsong sect fear death? Fight the devil race to the death." Furious roars erupted in the square. The emotions of many cultivators were completely ignited. I declare that from today onwards, all cultivators and forces of the immortal Tao will listen to the orders of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect and fight the devil race to the death. Those who do not obey the orders of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, kill. Those who cower in the middle of the war, kill. The heavenly fate Haotsong sect master's voice was filled with killing intent. All cultivators of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, be it the Grand Elder or the ordinary disciples, prepare to march to the front lines of the immortal demon war at any time according to the sect's arrangements. With that, the heavenly fate Haotsong sect master looked at Su Fong and Dao Hongtian. The 2 of you are the candidates for the next sect master of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect and have noble statuses. However, at this critical juncture that concerns the survival of the sect, someone should step forward bravely and participate in the immortal demon war to boost morale. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. All eyes were on Su Fong. Dao Hongtian was the default candidate for the next sect master of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, while Su Fong, the Taoist disciple, was merely a decoration. It was extremely dangerous to participate in the immortal demon war. Even experts at the peak of the Tao Master realm could die, let alone others. Who else but Su Fong could be sent for such a dangerous task? Some people felt sorry for Su Fong, thinking that the top genius of the macro world, a peerless figure of the immortal Tao, would fall in the immortal demon war before he could grow up. Others were secretly gloating, such as immortal master Yang Ju, Lui Wetian, and Dao Xintian. As expected, The heavenly fate Haotsong's sect master continued. I've decided that one of you two will stay in the sect, and the other will go to the front lines of the immortal demon war. Su Fong, Dao Hengtian suddenly interrupted the sect master. Sect master is wise. You should let Su Fong stay in the sect, and I'll go to the front lines of the immortal demon war. The heavenly fate Haotsong's sect master was stunned and then shouted coldly, Dao Hengtian, when did I say that Su Fong should stay in the sect? Su Fong was also stunned. A true cultivator was able to step forward bravely in a critical moment. Dao Hengtian was indeed a peerless figure that Luo Do somewhat admired. Dao Hengtian said indifferently, if I don't participate in the immortal demon war, even if I become the sect master in the future, how can I lead the sect? Sect master, I made up my mind. If you force me to stay in the sect, I'll resign from my position and go to the front lines of the immortal demon war. The heavenly fate Haotsong's sect master was furious. You dare to go against my orders? Dao Hengtian, were disappointing me more and more. Dao Hengtian transmitted his message to Su Fong. In this immortal demon war, the heavenly fate Haotsong sect and the immortal Dao have no chance of victory and are facing destruction. Su Fong, your talent is far greater than mine. If the immortal Dao can rise again in the great world, the person who leads it will be you. In this immortal demon war, you stay in the sect. Once the heavenly fate Haotsong sect is in danger, you leave and preserve the last hope for the immortal Dao. Dao Hengtian looked at Su Fong. Although his eyes were closed, Su Fong could feel his sincerity. Su Fong was silent. At this time, Yangju holy man mocked. Dao Hengtian, as a Dao disciple, dares to put himself in danger and is a role model for the immortal Dao. However, some people are afraid of death and hide in their sections. Even if their talent is heaven-defying, it's still shameful. What face do they have to live in this world? Mo Wutian's master also said, cruel and merciless to your fellow sect members, cowering in the face of external enemies. Are you worthy of being the heavenly fate Haotsong's sect's Dao disciple? Su Fong ignored the two of them and sent a voice transmission to Dao Hengtian with his primordial spirit. Dao Hengtian, aren't you looking down on me too much? Even you don't mind dying, what do I, Su Fong, have to fear? Besides, if I really fall in the immortal demon war, it means that I'm not lucky enough. If I don't even have this bit of luck, how can I lead the immortal Dao to rise in the future? Su Fong, don't be provoked by my words. You're just a clown. You want to shake my Dao heart? I'm not fighting for the heavenly fate Haotsong sect, but for the immortal Dao. I won't cower. I've made up my mind. Dao Hengtian, you don't have to say anymore. Su Fong ended his conversation with Dao Hengtian and looked at the sect master of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect. He said loudly, disciple is willing to accept the sect arrangements and head to the immortal demon battlefield. Dao Hengtian also said, I'll go too. If sect master doesn't agree, I've already said that I won't be a Dao disciple anymore. The sect master of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect pondered for a moment before nodding and saying, 2 Dao disciples of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect have already taken the initiative to head to the immortal demon battlefield. What are you hesitating for? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Many gazes filled with admiration looked at Su Fong and Dao Hengtian. Of course, there was no lack of people who mocked them for being stupid. Dao Hengtian looked at Su Fong and said proudly, Su Fong, do you dare to make a bet with me? Su Fong was surprised. A bet? I'm not as good as you in the Dao disciple competition, and I'm still not convinced. I'll use this immortal demon war as an opportunity to compete with you again. Su Fong's eyes lit up. How are we going to compete? Whoever kills the most devil race experts will be the final winner. It has to be a devil venerable. All right. Su Fong laughed and hit Dao Hengtian's palm with his right hand. The two talked and laughed, treating the demon sovereigns as ants. A sense of pride and fearlessness arose spontaneously, subduing tens of thousands of cultivators of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect. After the competition, the heavenly fate Haotsong sect immediately went into full operation and entered a state of war. Groups of cultivators rushed to the front lines of the immortal demon war. At the same time, the heavenly fate Haotsong sect also issued a decree in the name of the leader of the immortal Tao world. Every faction, powerhouse, and even those secluded rogue cultivators were all involved in this war that concerned the survival of the immortal Tao. Su Fong temporarily stayed on the silent great star and waited for the decree of the heavenly fate Haotsong sect. On this day, Zhang Riyun came to the main peak of the silent great star. Su Fong, I have to go back to the sect with my master, Zhang Riyun said faintly, looking reluctant to part with him. Take care. In the midst of the calamity, these two simple words became incomparably precious. Zhang Ruiyun reminded him, I have a Xinjia gate. If I encounter any danger, I can escape at any time. You defeated the demon saint, Ming Yin, and have become a target of the demon race. You have to be especially careful. I will. Zhang Ruiyun, when did you become so sentimental? Zhang Ruiyun blushed and looked at Su Fong with a shy expression. Her eyes were filled with determination. Su Fong, I like you. If we can survive the immortal demon war, I will definitely pester you. When that time comes, don't think I'm annoying. With that, Zhang Ruiyun hugged Su Fong and kissed him on the cheek. Then, blushing, she turned and quickly left. It was a long silence. Su Fong let out a long sigh. =our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic review. Chapter 1594. Rushing to the immortal demon battlefield, the main peak of the silent great star. In the true dragon realm, Su Fong was in the Yellow Springs Blood Sea state, constantly devouring pills and spiritual items. His cultivation level was about to reach the early stages of the Tao realm. It's time to fuse with the origin fire of the divine cauldron. When the energy in Su Fong's body became abundant, he condensed a physical body from the blood. Su Fong flipped his palm, and a mysterious purple flame slowly burned out of his right palm. The purple flame gave off a divine flame aura. It wasn't something that a flame from a great world should have. It was the divine flame of a great world. This flame was the origin fire of divine cauldron. After being refined by the origin sacred mirror, it still contained the aura of the 9 yang true fire. This divine flame from the myriad worlds will definitely allow me to successfully form 47 yang meridians. It will also allow my fire cloud emperor physique to evolve again. In this way, during the great war of the immortals and devils, I gain a bit more power to restrain the devils. Although killing divine cauldron was a bit risky and lucky, it was still a good thing. Not only did I get rid of a huge problem early, I also got such a huge benefit. Divine Cauldron's body allowed Su Fong to reach the Tao realm. Undead Lord, Gui, and the Big Goblin also devoured the essence of his body. This origin fire was the divine flame from the myriad worlds. If he cultivated with it, he would definitely be able to form a yang meridian. His fire cloud emperor physique would also improve. Su Fong's eyes flashed with vigor. Then, he suppressed the ecstasy and anticipation in his heart and released his divine aura. He suddenly sucked the divine flame into his body and slowly came to the yin-yang Tao wheel formed by the 46 yang meridians. Pure yang energy and the power of the yin-yang Tao wheel began to surge wildly into the divine flame through the yin-yang Tao wheel. This divine flame had already been refined by the mirror. Su Fong could easily fuse with it. Su Fong activated the 9 transformations. The power of the purple flame burst out and poured into the yang meridians. The terrifying burning power of the divine fire caused the 46 yang meridians to tremble. The 47th yang meridian that was being attacked was burning with pure yang energy. As a result, Su Fong gathered all the energy in his body, and at the same time, he drew out the extremely cold aura from the mirror, using all of it to attack this meridian. The entire heaven and earth Tao palace was burning with astonishing pure yang divine might. The Xianming lightning scroll and the reincarnation sword trembled in the face of this divine might. Even the Origin's sacred mirror trembled slightly. After experiencing an unknown number of impacts, all 46 yang meridians continued to swell, as if they were about to explode. Chi, an astonishing amount of yang energy, surged through the entire heaven and earth Tao palace before rushing into the 47th meridian. A burst of Xian Guang's yang qi burst out from this meridian after a series of popping sounds. When the flame disappeared, this meridian turned into a jade-like yang meridian. Just like that, 47 yang meridians were born. This newly born yang meridian took the initiative to approach the last yang meridian in the heaven and earth Tao palace. Their tails connected, forming the heaven and earth Tao palace made up of 47 yang meridians. Su Fong released his senses, which swept through the heaven and earth Tao palace. He found a vast amount of yang energy surging in the yang meridian before finally surging into the world tree. Looking at the purple divine fire, he found that only 1/3 of it had been consumed. The remaining divine fire can be used to cultivate the fire cloud emperor physique. I can also give it to the dragon bird so that it can continue to grow. Su Fong separated half of the divine fire and sent it to the dragon bird's side with divine might. The dragon bird sensed the divine might of flames from all the worlds in the universe from the divine fire, as well as the aura of the Origin's sacred mirror's 9 yang true fire. It excitedly circled around the purple divine fire before swallowing it. In an instant, the dragon bird's feathers seemed to be burning. Its flame-like crown burned with a flame that was 1/2 foot tall. It looked very shocking, and a terrifying divine might of the sun was released, which made Su Fong's heart palpitate. I don't know how Xuanxin is doing now. Su Fong thought of Fairy Xuanxin again. She was by Fairy Frozen Dream's side, so her safety shouldn't be a problem. However, the plan to bring her back had to be postponed because of the Immortal Demon War. Zhang Riyun, I have no choice but to let her down. Thinking of Zhang Riyun, Su Fong smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that the honest and shy little female cultivator in the small world back then would have such a bold side. Su Fong shook off the distracting thoughts in his mind. He shattered his body and merged it with the blood around him. The remaining divine fire quickly merged with the blood. Su Fong then activated the illusory fire cloud sutra. The surging yellow spring blood sea set off monstrous waves with a boom, and a shocking cloud of fire quickly burned. What a terrifying divine fire! Feeling the astonishing energy in the divine fire, if it wasn't for the fact that Su Fong's own pure yang energy and the power of the yin-yang world had been fused into the divine fire, Su Fong felt that the yellow spring blood sea would have been evaporated by the purple fire in an instant, not even leaving behind ashes. Boom! The divine power of the illusory fire cloud began to sweep through the blood sea, turning the yellow spring blood sea into a terrifying sea of fire. As it continued to absorb the power of the divine fire, the divine power of the flames became even more terrifying. Su Fong estimated that after fusing all the divine fire, he would activate the fire cloud emperor physique and the 9 yang immortal fire. When the two immortal fires fused, he would be able to burn any mid-level Dao realm expert with his early-level Dao realm cultivation base. However, when facing a high-level Dao realm expert, he would have to use other divine powers. Time passed. When Su Fong put away the fire cloud emperor physique and condensed a new body in the blood sea, he counted with his fingers. 3 years had passed. Sensing the heaven and earth Dao palace, the flames on the dragon bird's body had been extinguished, but it had fallen into a deep sleep. Su Fong could sense that the divine power of the sun was brewing and transforming in its body. Once it woke up, its strength would definitely increase tremendously. The world tree grew a little taller. Due to the fire cloud emperor physique's transformation, the fiery red leaf was no longer a tender leaf that had just grown out, but a normal leaf surrounded by fire clouds. When he sensed the primordial chaos sacred realm again, it was still unfathomable. The internal space was extremely vast. Currently, Su Fong was still unable to control this divine artifact freely. Not only was he not strong enough, But the vast and ancient array formation in the mirror was also not something Su Fong could control at his current realm. However, Su Fong was now able to activate the primordial chaos sacred realm and release the terrifying Nine-Yang true fire to suppress the big goblin, revive experts, and absorb items. He was no longer unable to do as he pleased like before. The main reason was that the Nine-Yang 9 transformations had reached the 5th transformation. In addition, the purple Qi Dharma spirit had matured and was constantly devouring the primordial purple Qi and the artifact spirit. It grew stronger time and time again, especially after devouring the primordial purple Qi in the extinguishing soil. Its ability to control Dharma treasures had multiplied. The purple Qi Dharma spirit was so magical. If it continued to grow, there would be a day when Su Fong could completely control the primordial chaos sacred realm. His strength had increased again. In the upcoming Immortal Demon War, he would naturally have more ability to protect himself. Su Fong was very happy. After a few more years of cultivation, an essence spirit came. It turned out that it was a grand elder of the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect who brought the sect's decree. Taoist Su Fong, the sect's upper echelons have decided to order you to lead 300 special disciples to the immortal demon battlefield in 5 days. Yes. Then, Su Fong walked out of the cultivation room and cupped his fists towards the depths of the cave abode. He bid farewell to Ji Hong Immortal Supremacy. After a moment of silence, Ji Hong Immortal Supremacy's voice came from the depths of the cave abode. The Immortal Demon War is extremely dangerous. There is the possibility of dying at any time. I can take you away from the heavenly mandate bright firmament sect and avoid this war. Avoid the war. Su Fong was stunned. Then, he shook his head and said, I'm also an immortal Tao cultivator. The Immortal Demon War concerns the survival of the immortal Tao. I can't stay out of it. That would go against my Tao heart. Besides, although the Immortal Demon War is dangerous, it's also a chance to train me. Risk and opportunity coexist. I won't let go of this great opportunity. The other cultivators, including the sect's upper echelons, are extremely afraid of the devil race and the resurrected powerhouses. You're actually using the war as a chance to train yourself. I'm very pleased that you have such a Tao heart. I won't persuade you anymore. Take this rune talisman. Remember, don't use it unless it's a critical moment. Whoosh! A rune talisman passed through the formation and appeared in front of Su Fong. He sensed that there was a Dharma seal sealed in the rune talisman. He only needed to use his Dharma power to activate the rune talisman to unleash a divine power. What was sealed in the rune talisman wasn't an ordinary divine power. It was a divine power of the great Tao of time. It was a divine power that Su Fong couldn't estimate. It was vast and incomparably powerful. When Su Fong had just become his disciple, Ji Hong Immortal Lord had given Su Fong a rune talisman for communication. At the same time, there was a divine power attack that was equivalent to a mid-level Tao realm expert sealed in the rune talisman. Su Fong had never had the chance to use it, nor could he use it. This time, Ji Hong Immortal Lord gave him another rune talisman. The divine power sealed in it surpassed Su Fong's knowledge. It was more than 100 times more powerful than the divine power in the rune talisman he gave before. A divine power that only gods have. Is this master's true strength? Su Fong was very shocked. He finally had a clear understanding of Ji Hong Immortal Lord's true strength. Su Fong held the rune talisman tightly in his hand. He was filled with gratitude towards Ji Hong Immortal Lord. He said respectfully, "Thank you, Master. Go. Take care." Su Fong bowed deeply towards the depths of the cave, then turned and left. In the depths of the cave, Ji Hong Immortal Lord's original body and clone sat opposite each other. His original body looked obviously older. The rune talisman he gave Su Fong just now consumed a lot of his original body strength. It was difficult to recover from this kind of consumption. 5 days later, Su Fong came to the palace in the depths of the Heaven's Mandate, Celestial Land. A grand elder of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect led more than 300 special experts of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect to meet with Su Fong. This grand elder was Mo Wutian's master. Among the experts of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, there were many acquaintances of Su Fong. Dao Xintian, Feng Ling, and the others were among them. These disciples of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect could be regarded as peerless geniuses in any immortal domain. However, with the outbreak of the Immortal Demon War, they also rushed to the Immortal Demon battlefield with other ordinary cultivators to fight against the demon race and the resurrected experts. The sect master of the Heaven's Mandate, Hao Tsang sect, personally came to see them off. After some encouragement, Mo Wutian's master and Su Fong led everyone out of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect and disappeared through the space formation. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1595. Those who flee without a fight will die. In recent years, the situation in the immortal Tao world had become increasingly unfavorable. As the war between immortals and demons erupted, the demon army pushed the front line all the way to the central immortal domain, deep within the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect's sphere of influence. There were 7 immortal domains between the front line and the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect. The immortal domains were extremely far apart. Without a spatial formation, it would take an immortal sovereign 500 years to traverse through countless galaxies and 7 immortal domains. However, 500 years was just the blink of an eye for cultivators. The war between immortals and demons seemed very far away from the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect, but it was incomparably dangerous for the sect. Once the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect fell, the entire immortal Tao world would be completely annihilated. Due to the destruction of many spatial formations along the way, Su Fong and the others had no choice but to ride Mo Wutian's master's flying boat Magic Treasure. They traversed through the immortal domains, as well as the dangerous, desolate, and dangerous lands created by the natural forces of heaven and earth. Although it wasn't as fast as a spatial formation, it wasn't much slower. About 50 years later, the flying boat charged through a huge and dangerous ravine, breaking free of the shackles of nature and appearing in an immortal domain. Whoosh, a chaotic scene unfolded before Su Fong and the others. Countless cultivators of the immortal Tao were flying in from the depths of the immortal realm like a swarm of headless flies. There were also some immortals who intended to fly across the sky ravine and leave the immortal realm. This scene clearly showed the immortal cultivators retreating in defeat. This place is an immortal domain away from the main battlefield of immortals and demons. Why are immortal cultivators retreating? Could it be that the immortal Tao has been defeated and the demon army has advanced here? But according to the reports from the front lines, the immortal and demon armies are in a stalemate. There's no news of a great defeat. Su Fong and the others were shocked. Feng Ling, bring a cultivator over and ask what's going on. Su Fong immediately ordered. Feng Ling left the flying boat and quickly brought a sage, immortal cultivator aboard. It was unknown which force this cultivator came from, but before Su Fong could ask, he immediately took the initiative to persuade. Did you come from the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect? Quickly flee. The demon race's army has already captured King City and will arrive soon. If we don't flee now, it will be too late. How many people are there in the demon army? Su Fong asked in a deep voice. The cultivator's face was filled with fear. There are about 100,000 of them. They are extremely powerful and invincible. An army of 100,000 demons. Su Fong was taken aback. Soon after, a chill seeped out of his eyes. There were countless cultivators in the central immortal domain, and there were tens of millions of cultivators above the Xian immortal realm. Disregarding everything else, there were close to 1 million cultivators running for their lives, and there were still countless cultivators rushing over. Su Fong and the other cultivators of the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect found it hard to believe that a 100,000-strong army of demons had forced the cultivators of the immortal world to flee. Feng Ling shouted coldly, "A bunch of trash who were scared out of their wits by the demon race. Sir from the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect, since you have the courage, I will leave the demon race's army to you. I will not accompany you. If I leave too late, I am afraid I will lose my life here." The cultivator mocked Feng Ling, then turned to leave the flying boat. "What's the use of keeping such a cowardly and shameless person in this world?" Feng Ling shouted angrily. He took a step forward and angrily attacked. With a punch, he sent the cultivator flying out of the flying boat and killed him on the spot. "All of you, stay where you are." Su Feng spoke in a domineering manner. He released his world's divine aura. Together with the ethereal primordial realm's ability, his divine aura covered an area of 100,000 miles. The frantically fleeing cultivators were shackled by Su Feng's divine aura. They could not move and looked at Su Feng in shock. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Without waiting for Su Feng's order, more than 300 special disciples of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect flew out of the flying boat and spread out, blocking the border of the immortal world. The weakest of these special disciples was at the peak of the 9th sacred immortal realm. There were even a few Tao realm powerhouses among them. At this moment, all of them were enraged by the cultivators who only knew how to flee for their lives. They unleashed their auras in shocking divine auras, sealing off the immortal world. Some cultivators tried to break through the blockade by relying on their numbers, but hundreds of them were killed by the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect cultivators on the spot. Only then did they stop the frantic fleeing tide. You are scared out of your wits by the demon race's army of 100,000. You even abandoned the immortal world that gave birth to you. Are you worthy of being called cultivators? Su Feng's majestic voice spread in all directions. His voice contained a supreme ruler's aura, causing many cultivators to tremble with fear. Some cultivators were ashamed, while others were furious. However, they were intimidated by Su Feng's divine aura and the strength of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect cultivators. They did not dare to make a sound. "Which immortal supremacy is blocking my path?" A cold voice came from afar. Then, a war chariot streaked across the sky like a bolt of lightning. In less than 10 breaths, it arrived in front of the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect's flying ship. "Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, is here. The Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect is so domineering. How dare they block our path? I don't believe they dare to stop immortal supremacy, Shi Xia. There's a demon race army behind us and the path ahead is blocked. At most, we'll fight it out with the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect." Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, was an old man whose cultivation had reached the peak of the early stage Tao realm. He wore a red Taoist robe and had a majestic aura. His eyes were like lightning. The war chariot he was riding was a peak supreme gray Tao artifact. 2 ancient flood dragons were pulling the war chariot. This immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, was so ostentatious. "May I ask which senior from the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect is here?" Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia cupped his fists towards the flying ship. The strongest cultivator from the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect was naturally Mo Wutian's master. However, Su Feng was a Taoist disciple. It was a big matter for the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect to participate in the immortal demon battlefield. Mo Wutian's master hated and feared Su Feng. Ever since he left the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect, he didn't say a word and kept a respectful distance from Su Feng. At this time, he wouldn't show himself and hid in the flying ship. "You're the immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, who guards this immortal world?" Su Feng said indifferently. From the immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's aura, Su Feng judged that he wasn't a native cultivator of this immortal world. He should be from another sect. "I'm Shi Xia. How should I address this genius from the Heaven's Mandate Bright Firmament sect?" When immortal supremacy, Shi Xia saw that Su Feng was at the initial stage of the Tao realm at such a young age, her expression suddenly changed and her tone became a bit more polite. Su Feng said coldly, "Since you're guarding this immortal world, why did you let the demon army wreak havoc in the immortal world while you fled here?" Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's face sank when she saw Su Feng being so rude. The demon race is powerful. Why can I avoid them? You've been living like a prince in the heavens mandate bright firmament sect. You probably don't know how powerful the demon race is, right? Please get out of the way and don't cause unnecessary misunderstandings equals in_1. In addition, I advise you that the demon race's experts are about to arrive. Although you're strong and have several immortal supremacies, you're not a match for the demon supremacy. I advise you to leave quickly so as not to lose your life here. Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia sneered and urged the chariot to rush into the immortal world and enter the sky ravine area. The heavens mandate bright firmament sect issued a decree at the beginning of the war. Those who shrink back or cower in the war will be killed. If you turn around and fight the demon race now, I can spare your life. Su Fang's voice was full of killing intent. Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia sneered disdainfully. You just reached the Tao realm at such a young age. You obviously relied on all kinds of resources to reach your cultivation realm. You want to suppress me? I'm so polite to you because you're a cultivator of the heavens mandate bright firmament sect. If you dare to block my way, don't blame me for not giving face to the heavens mandate bright firmament sect. Whether it was an immortal world or the immortal world, there were people like immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, who were soft in the face of foreign enemies. But when facing their own kind, they were like wolves and tigers, arrogant, overbearing, and merciless. Some of the surrounding cultivators also shouted and released their momentum to attack the heavens mandate bright firmament sect cultivators. Kill, 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 Su Fang shouted coldly. The other cultivators of the heavens mandate bright firmament sect, Feng Ling, and the others also roared. A divine dragon's aura exploded from Su Fang's body. The Supreme Majesty made the two ancient flood dragons in front of immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's war chariot roar in fear at the same time. Immediately, they trembled and curled up their huge bodies like two dead snakes. At the same time, Su Fang activated his dragon subduing true body and turned into a divine dragon that was more than 100 feet long. His tail swayed with astonishing momentum as he rushed forward and arrived in front of immortal supremacy, Shi Xia, in a flash. He opened his mouth and spat out a flame. This wasn't an ordinary flame, but Su Fang's 9 sons' immortal fire. It instantly burned immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's momentum layer by layer. In the next moment, Su Fang's dragon claw carried a terrifying momentum that could tear everything apart. It forcefully and overbearingly tore apart immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's chi field. Then, it was her body that was torn into two by the dragon claw. After advancing to the Tao realm, the power of Su Fang's dragon subduing true body had also increased accordingly. It had reached such a terrifying height that it could kill a peak early-stage Tao realm immortal supremacy expert with a single strike. Vermilion Emperor, I'll leave it to you. Su Fang returned to his normal state and released Vermilion Emperor, who transformed into the big goblin. It rushed out rapidly and swallowed immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's corpse in one gulp. Vermilion Emperor still didn't want to give up. He then rushed toward the cultivators who were fighting with the cultivators of Heavenly Mandate, Hao Tsang's sect. His ferocious charge immediately caused a great chaos. A bunch of trash. You're scared by a mere 100,000 devils. You still want to fight with my master? Vermilion Emperor smiled evilly and returned to Su Fang's side. Su Fang took him into the true dragon world to slowly enjoy immortal supremacy, Shi Xia's corpse. Immortal supremacy, Shi Xia was easily killed by Su Fang, and even her corpse was fed to the big goblin. Many cultivators were scared silly by Su Fang's ruthless means. Even the cultivators of Heavenly Mandate, Hao Tsang's sect, felt a chill run down their spines. The world is changing, and the entire immortal Tao realm is facing destruction. Where can you escape to? Even if you escape today, you won't be able to escape the fate of being devoured by the devil race. The only way out is to fight to the death with the devil race. Encountered a bottleneck, extremely painful. The third chapter will be updated at 12:30 p.m. =_ our download address. Mobile reading. Bibliographic Review. Chapter 1596. Novel Chapter 1615. Immortal cultivators brutally killing the giant demon. There is no path of survival in front of you. It is also a path of death. Xiao Xiao. Turn around. For the immortal world that gave birth to you, for your loved ones, fight the devil race to the death. Perhaps you will still have a chance to live. Even if you die, your glory will still exist. Su Fong spoke with the might of an emperor. It was as if an emperor was giving orders to his subjects. Many cultivators who were scared out of their wits by the devil race and only wanted to run for their lives couldn't help but turn around. However, due to their fear of the devil race, each of them was trembling. How could one see any fighting spirit in them? Su Fong sighed helplessly. Although there were many of them, each of them was like a cowardly sheep. How could they fight against the evil and cruel devil race? If all the cultivators of the immortal Tao were like this, the day of the immortal Tao world's destruction was not far away. Fight the devil race to the death? What a big tone. Why don't you just say that you are here to deliver food to the devil race? Kiki. A voice filled with ruthlessness and arrogance came from the depths of the immortal world like thunder. The immortal world's territory trembled from the laughter. Even the sky above the immortal world was covered with a layer of haze. A devil race expert broke through the void and appeared. This devil was different from the ones Su Fong had seen before. He was 300 feet tall and had a ferocious face. His eyes were burning with blood-red devil flames. There was a single horn on his head that looked like a curved blade. It was sharp and hard. This devil exuded a ruthless aura. His strength was at the mid-stage, immortal venerable realm. He dragged a long black chain in his hand. Hundreds of babies were locked on the chain. They were crying nonstop. The giant devil looked at the cultivators with disdain. Then he grabbed an infant in the air. The giant devil clenched his hand, and the infant immediately turned into a pool of blood. The giant devil clenched his blood-red tongue and sucked the infant into his mouth. Licking his lips, the giant devil laughed and looked arrogantly at the cultivators. Who was the one who said that he wanted to fight me to the death? Many cultivators gasped. Their eyes were filled with fear as they retreated. Some of the cultivators whose Tao hearts were not strong enough were so scared that their legs turned to jelly. They could no longer maintain their flight and fell to the ground. Swish! Swish! An army of demons charged out from the depths of the world of immortals. Although there were only 100,000 of them, the aura they exuded was more terrifying than that of 10 million immortal cultivators. Feng Ling and the other heavens mandate how Song Sek cultivators were about to attack when Su Fong said, "I'll do it. You guys guard the surroundings and don't let a single devil escape. I want everyone to know that although the demons are cruel and evil, they're not as invincible as they think." The giant devil snorted disdainfully. A newly advanced celestial venerable dares to be so arrogant? You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. In front of the devil race, you're just an ant-like existence. Wait until this seat devours your flesh, then you won't be so arrogant. Really? On the contrary, in my eyes, you're the nourishment for my cultivation. Su Fong spoke in a domineering manner. Then he activated the formless Vajra body and turned into a bronze man glittering with golden light, pouncing on the giant devil. Formless Vajra body, natal form. Su Fong fused the black-yellow six paths pagoda with his body, and with the help of his natal magic treasure, he fused the 300,000-plus junior commanders Jun Qi and Yao Qi into his body. Then, in his natal state, he cast the formless Vajra body skill and engaged in a fierce battle with the giant devil. Boom, boom, boom. Compared to the giant devil's body, Su Fong was as small as an ant. However, the powerful force he unleashed was incomparably astonishing. Every punch caused the void to collapse and the giant devil to stagger back. The fierce and sharp power of the formless Vajra body caused the giant devil's powerful physical body to split open layer by layer. Devil blood spurted out. Moreover, Su Fong's metal elemental divine aura also had the terrifying ability to turn all matter into metal. The giant devil's blood gushed out of his body and immediately solidified into metal. His huge body was also metallized by the metal elemental divine aura, causing his movements to become sluggish and his strength to be severely affected. Su Fong used the metal origin mother steel to raise his formless Vajra body to a new level. Now that he had reached the Tao realm, not only did his metal elemental power reach a new level, but his understanding and control of the metal elemental natural laws also reached a new level. This greatly increased the power of the formless Vajra body. Coupled with his natal form, he now displayed a terrifying strength that could crush the giant devil. Boom, boom, boom. Under Su Fong's fierce attacks, the giant devil was completely crushed and trampled. No matter how he roared and unleashed layers of terrifying devilish energy and physical strength, he could not change this fate. Under the pressure of Su Fong's aura, his physical body was constantly broken and he spat out blood. Su Fong wanted to use this kind of overbearing and powerful method to crush the giant devil and vent his hatred for the devil race. At the same time, Su Fong wanted to let all the immortal cultivators see that the devil race was not invincible. Immortal cultivators were not weak chickens that could be slaughtered by the devil race. They could also crush the devil race. The strength that Su Fong displayed now was more than 10 times stronger than during the Tao disciple competition. The cultivators watching from afar, as well as the disciples of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, including Mo Wutian's master, were all deeply shocked. This kid's true strength has probably reached the level of a high-level Tao realm expert. If another few tens of thousands of years pass, Mo Wutian's master shuddered when he thought of this. When he thought of how he was attacked by Tian Fa and his strength was damaged, Mo Wutian's master felt a chill run down his spine. He secretly regretted it. Was it unwise to take revenge on Su Fong? Who are you? You're only at the initial level of the Tao realm, but you have such shocking strength. The giant devil who was being crushed roared in anger and shock. This time, the giant devil led 100,000 devil race to kill their way into the immortal realm. He originally planned to plunder and harass them before quickly retreating. Although this devil was powerful and had penetrated deep into the immortal realm, he was not arrogant enough to occupy the immortal realm and do whatever he wanted. Who knew that countless immortal cultivators would flee when they saw the devil race, allowing the giant devil to easily occupy the immortal realm's royal city and plunder countless resources and cultivators, mainly female cultivators. The giant devil was pleasantly surprised and became even more arrogant. He led 100,000 devil race to sweep through the immortal realm as if he had entered an uninhabited land. He didn't expect. He met a young cultivator at the edge of the immortal realm and was actually suppressed to the point where he couldn't even fight back. The giant devil no longer had the arrogance he had just now. Attack together and suppress this person. The giant devil roared. The 100,000 devil race army performed a joint attack. Every 10,000 people formed a square formation and burst out with the same aura and momentum, gathering everyone's strength to attack. This time, it was as if 10 initial-level Tao realm immortal venerables had appeared and surged towards Su Fong like a tidal wave. It's time to end this. Boom! After forming a seal, Su Fong's body shattered and turned into a vast sea of blood more than 70,000 feet wide. It instantly engulfed the devil army and covered the giant devil within the range of the sea of blood. Yellow Spring Blood Sea. You're Su Fong. You're Su Fong, the number 1 genius of the immortal realm who defeated the Saint Sun Ming Yen. The illustrious name of the Yellow Spring Blood Sea was still widely known in the devil world. This giant devil was equivalent to a mid-level Tao realm immortal venerable and was naturally familiar with the name. Before the outbreak of the Great War of Immortals and Demons, the devil race threatened the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect in order to weaken the morale of the immortal realm. They forced the sect leader to allow Ming Yen, the Tao disciple of the devil race, to participate in the Tao disciple competition. In the end, Ming Yen was defeated and the devil race's scheme failed. The one who defeated Ming Yin was Su Fong. As a result, Su Fong's name was well known among the devil race. Although the devil race was cruel and evil, they respected strength. Su Fong's talent and strength made the experts of the devil race admire and submit to him. As a result, Su Fong was listed as one of the devil race's must-kill targets and ranked even higher than the Grand Elder of the Heavenly Mandate Hao Tsang sect. The giant devil recognized the Yellow Spring Blood Sea and naturally knew Su Fong's identity. Knowing that he had kicked an iron plate, he immediately lost his will to fight. However, he was currently trapped in the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. How could it be easy to escape? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The bloody water roiled and roared, forming a giant bloody vortex that burned with fiery clouds more than 30 meters high. 100,000 devil race cultivators floated in the bloody water, burned by the fiery clouds and corroded by the bloody water. Among Gui's poisons, in addition to demonic and fire poisons, there was also the corrosive devil-corroding poison, which was fatal to the devil race. 100,000 devil race cultivators howled in agony from the bloody water, their cries piercing the heavens. The cultivators of the immortal realm all looked ashen. They couldn't bear to see this. Even some of the heavenly mandate, Hao Tsang sect cultivators frowned. They thought that Su Fong was too cruel and cruel. However, Su Fong's methods ignited the bloodlust and killing intent in some of the cultivators. Their eyes sparkled with vigor and renewed fighting spirit. Whoosh! A figure of Su Fong condensed in the bloody water, speaking in a cold voice. I, Su Fong, will return the favor tenfold how the devil race treats the immortal realm cultivators. The devil race treats the immortal realm cultivators 100 times more cruel and ruthless than I do now. Why can't I bear it? Su Fong, this seat will fight you to the death. The giant devil, struggling in the bloody water, roared angrily. A layer of surging demonic flames ignited all over his body. An astonishing aura was about to erupt after a short period of brewing. It turned out that in his despair, this devil race cultivator wanted to use his demonic body. Even if he couldn't perish together with Su Fong, he wanted to seriously injure him. You don't have the right to fight me to the death. Su Fong sneered disdainfully. He activated the Yellow Spring Reincarnation Sword. At the same time, he formed a seal with his hands and struck out the Four Seasons Reincarnation Seal. An astonishing reincarnation aura erupted and enveloped the giant devil race cultivator. The reincarnation aura had the ability to absorb and then counterattack the enemy's attack. Under Su Fong's reincarnation aura, the giant devil race cultivator's power couldn't burst out at all. He was suppressed layer by layer and couldn't release his power for a while. At this moment, Su Fong activated the reincarnation sword. With a whoosh, it directly pierced through the giant devil race cultivator's head. A mid-level Dao realm cultivator of the devil race was killed by Su Fong just like that. This is the first devil venerable. Su Fong waved his hand. The lone corner of the giant devil race cultivator's head was in his hand and stored in his storage ring. He and Dao Hongtian had an agreement to compete to see who could kill more devil venerables. This giant devil race cultivator was the first he killed. There would be more in the future. Novel equals _ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1597. Encountering the Demon Army Swoosh. Su Fong kept the hundreds of infants chained by the giant demon into the true dragon world. Previously, when Su Fong used the Samsara divine power to attack the giant demon, he deliberately released a protective divine power. These babies were not harmed at all. After Su Fong kept them in the true dragon realm, he directly handed them over to Bai Ling and Yu Miaomei to look after. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Yellow Spring Blood Sea was still roaring and rolling. The whales of the demon race, cultivators, gradually disappeared. The surroundings were deathly silent. The only sound that could be heard was the surging sound of the Yellow Spring Blood Sea. The evil chi, death chi, despair, and hatred of 100,000 demon race cultivators permeated the Blood Sea. Just these evil chi alone was enough to make a mid-stage, immortal venerable lose his mind. However, under Su Fang's 9 sons' divine might, the evil chi was incinerated, burned, and refined until there was nothing left. It could not affect Su Fang at all. The corpses of the giant demon and 100,000 cultivators were swallowed and integrated by the yellow spring blood sea. After their devil chi was suppressed and refined by the 9 sons' divine might, it turned into pure energy and was absorbed by Su Fang into his golden origin core. This caused his true chi and energy to increase at an astonishing speed. The vitality of the demon race was incomparably strong. How vast was the life essence of a mid-stage Tao realm demon venerable and 100,000 demon race cultivators. Of course, Su Fang could not digest it all by himself. He devoured a small part of it himself, while the majority of it was given to Gue and his subordinates, the Big Goblin. In this way, Su Fang's flame of life burned with an astonishing momentum, like a volcano erupting. As for Gue and the Big Goblin, after devouring so much life essence, their strength was also rapidly increasing. Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, and the other powerful Big Goblin who had reached the Demon Sovereign level were also increasing at an astonishing speed. Their strength was catching up to Su Fang's. The terrifying scene of Su Fang devouring 100,000 demon race soldiers with a yellow spring blood sea made many immortal Tao cultivators tremble. In their minds, Su Fang was 10 times more terrifying than the demon race. Inside the flying boat, when Mo Wu Tian's master witnessed this scene, his face revealed a look of dread and even fear. His mind was buzzing. Not only is this kid's talent and strength heaven-defying, he's also vicious and merciless. However, he killed my beloved disciple and caused me to be seriously injured. My strength has been damaged, so I have no choice but to take revenge. If I want to take revenge, I must use thunder and surprise him and kill him in one go. If I fail, even I will not be able to escape the fate of being suppressed by him. Fortunately, there are plenty of opportunities to kill him during the great immortal demon war. I just need to endure for a while and seize the opportunity. It's best if I don't do it personally. If I get punished by the heavens again, Mo Wu Tian's master made a decision in his heart. The black spots on his face wriggled, and his eyes flashed with a cold light. Half a day later, the blood rolled and condensed back into Su Fang's human form. He couldn't devour all of the giant devil and 100,000 devil race cultivators in a short time, so he kept them in the true dragon realm and stored them as cultivation resources. At this time, Su Fang's whole body exuded a majestic aura of life. There was also a supreme domineering and murderous aura, like a god of death. Su Fang's divine light swept over the many immortal Tao cultivators. He said domineeringly, "Do you see? The devil race is the same as the immortal Tao cultivators. They will also wail in pain and die. What is there to be afraid of?" Although the immortal Tao cultivators were frightened by Su Fang's ruthless methods, when they saw the devil race's devil venerables and 100,000 devil race cultivators being casually slaughtered by Su Fang, how could they still be evil, cruel, and incomparably powerful? The immortal Tao cultivators' bone-deep fear of the devil race had disappeared at this moment. Su Fang continued, "Cultivators and cultivators seek to have an open heart and live a vigorous life. What kind of status does Yang Ming have? Even he doesn't hesitate to die, let alone you? I, Su Fang, as the Taoist of the Heavens Mandate Haizong sect, also threw myself into the immortal demon war without hesitation. What are you afraid of? Running for your life will only lead to death. Instead of that, why not fight the devil race to the death?" Su Fang's words made the immortal Tao cultivators lower their heads one by one, their faces full of shame. When they raised their heads again, they held their heads high and even their backs straight. The fighting spirit and the bloodlust hidden deep in their bodies were completely ignited by Su Fang. Su Fang said coldly, "Return to your forces and maintain order in the immortal world. Deal with the devil race army that may arrive at any time. If anyone runs away without fighting, You will end up like Venerable Xia and those devil race cultivators just now. Yes, many immortal Tao cultivators cupped their fists at Su Fong and then flew into the depths of the immortal world without looking back. They no longer looked like stray dogs from before. The cultivators of the heavens mandate Height Song sect flew over. Feng Ling cupped his fists and praised sincerely. You killed the devil race powerhouses with a raise of your hand, suppressed the devil race army of 100,000, and aroused the fighting spirit of the immortal Tao cultivators with just a few words. Brother Su, Feng Ling admires you from the bottom of my heart. The other cultivators were also in awe of Su Fong. Su Fong had won first place in the Tao disciple competition in one fell swoop, and some were jealous. But at this moment, these people's jealousy was completely gone. They were completely subdued by Su Fong and were deeply in awe. Dao Xintian flew over and cupped his fists at Su Fong with an ashamed expression. This one used to be arrogant and offended Taoist. I'm deeply ashamed. Please forgive me. Kill more devil race cultivators, and I won't bother about the past, Su Fong said indifferently. Su Fong rested in place for a few days, then took a flying boat with the others and headed for the immortal domain where the immortal demon battlefield was located. The flying boat flew over the immortal world. Seeing the immortal cities destroyed by the devil race, Su Fong's hatred for the devil race grew stronger. But seeing that the returning immortal Tao cultivators were no longer focused on running for their lives, but on organizing and preparing to fight against the devil race, Su Fong was very gratified. 3 months later, the flying boat left the immortal world and arrived at the rear of the immortal domain where the front line of the immortal demon war was located. A movement came from Su Fong's body. It turned out that the rune talisman used by the higher-ups of the sect to transmit primordial spirits suddenly moved. Taking out the rune talisman, Xian Guang shot out from it and turned into the shadow of Holy Man Han Su's primordial spirit. It was Holy Man Han Su who was presiding over the battle at the front line. The news of Su Fong killing the giant devil and 100,000 devil race cultivators had already been reported to the front line. Looking at his serious expression, no one knew why he was transmitting primordial spirits at this time. The shadow of Holy Man Han Su's primordial spirit said, Su Fong, I've just received news that in order to rescue the devil race army you killed, a 1,000,000-strong elite devil race army has bypassed the front line and is heading straight for the immortal world where you are now. There are peerless devil race powerhouses in this army. Take the disciples of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect and avoid them. Remember, do not cross swords with them. It turned out that the giant devil killed by Su Fong led 100,000 devil race soldiers to the rear of the immortal Tao. But the devil race did not know that this army had been completely devoured by Su Fong and sent powerhouses to rescue them. Su Fong's eyebrows furrowed. Why didn't you send people to intercept them? Holy Man Han Su said, This is too sudden. I've just received the news and have already sent powerhouses over. But I'm afraid they won't make it in time. You have to be especially careful. According to the news from the devil race, this devil race powerhouse is comparable to an advanced Tao realm cultivator. Moreover, this devil race army is made up of the elites of the devil race. Izun has yet to recover from his injuries and is not a match for this devil race powerhouse. You and those special disciples are all peerless geniuses of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect. Nothing can happen to you. The Hizun that Holy Man Han Su was referring to was Mo Wutian's master. I understand. Su Fong nodded and put away the rune talisman with a flip of his hand. At this moment, the life-shrinking technique suddenly reacted and mysterious Tao runes of destiny flashed from the depths of his divine aperture. Before Su Fong could identify the figure formed by the Tao runes of destiny, a figure broke through the void and appeared in the void thousands of miles away. This was a short devil race cultivator, half a head shorter than the average human cultivator. However, his aura was empty and gave people the feeling that he was a devil god that shouldn't appear in the great world. The other heavenly mandate Haotsong sect cultivators hadn't sensed the existence of this devil yet. Hizun suddenly shouted coldly, A peerless devil race powerhouse has appeared. Be careful. This devil is not someone we can fight against. Retreat from here. Only then did everyone notice the devil race powerhouse thousands of miles away. Their divine light changed instantly. Hizun said sternly, Daozi, you have the ability and Dao weapon to restrain the devil race. Resist this devil race powerhouse first. It won't be too late for Daozi to escape after I leave with the other disciples. Su Fong was looking at the devil race powerhouse in the distance with a shocked and stunned expression. Hearing Hizun's order, Su Fong withdrew his gaze and smiled coldly. Why isn't Dao Master in charge of covering the retreat? Hizun said gloomily, Daozi, you were so righteous to those immortal Dao cultivators before. Why are you flinching at the critical moment? Su Fong mocked back. Lord Tao Master is powerful, and only you can fight against such a powerful demon. But you want to run for your life first and order me to be the cannon fodder. But you still speak so eloquently. What a joke. Since you say so, why don't you and I join forces to deal with this devil race powerhouse together? Do you dare? After saying that, he flew towards the demon race powerhouse. Do you think I'm afraid? Hizun sneered disdainfully. After instructing the other heavenly mandate Haotsong sect cultivators to leave quickly, Hizun also flew in that direction. However, he fell behind Su Fong. Obviously, he had the idea of escaping if the situation turned bad. The heavenly mandate Haotsong sect cultivators, mainly Feng Ling and the others, stayed in place, hesitating whether to go forward to help or not. Whoosh, the Dark Devil Race army appeared in everyone's line of sight. There were no less than 1 million of them. In an instant, Devil Chi and Evil Chi filled the sky. And judging from the aura of this Devil Race army, their strength was obviously much higher than the 100,000 Devil Race cultivators that Su Fong had devoured before. They were definitely the elites of the Devil Race. Hizun had not received any information from Dao Master Hansu before, so he did not know that in addition to this Devil Race powerhouse, there was also an army of millions of Devil Race elites. At this time, the appearance of the Devil Race army made up Hizun's expression changed greatly, and he immediately stopped. Whoosh Su Fong, on the other hand, carried an aura of being duty-bound and flew forward without the slightest hesitation. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography. Chapter 1598. Barbarian God, Demon, Venerable murdering his master. Idiot, suppressing a mid-level Dao realm demon sovereign and 100,000 demon race cultivators. Do you really think you can sweep through the demon race? You actually want to deal with a peerless demon sovereign that even I fear and 1 million demon race elites. You really don't know what death is. If you want to die, I won't accompany you. With that thought in mind, Hizun instantly retreated to the side of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect cultivators. Daozi, you're willing to fight against the demon race powerhouses alone. I really admire your courage. Let's go. We can't let down Daozi's sacrifice. Retreat. Hizun said to the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect cultivators. Who would have thought that no one would move? Hizun shouted coldly, What? Do you all want to stay here and wait for death? Feng Ling said in a deep voice, Daozi is facing the demon race powerhouses and the army alone, but we abandon Daozi and flee. Feng Ling can't do such a thing. If you want to leave, Sir Dao Venerable, please go ahead. I, Feng Ling, am willing to fight alongside Daozi. We're willing to fight the demon race with Daozi. Dao Xiantian and the other special disciples of the heavenly mandate Haotsong sect roared and followed Su Fong without hesitation. A bunch of idiots. Since you're courting death, I won't care about you. Hizun sneered disdainfully and directly fled into the void. Hizun didn't show himself until they were 100,000 miles away. With his high-level Dao realm cultivation base, 100,000 miles was within the range of his perception. He wanted to witness the scene of Su Fong dying in the hands of the demon race with his own eyes. Only then could he vent the hatred in his heart. Huff, Su Fong stood in the air 10 miles away from the demon race army, looking calm and collected. His gaze crossed the distance of 10 miles and landed on the short demon clan expert. The corners of his mouth curled up, revealing a faint smile. Su Fong, it's actually you. A surprised and angry roar suddenly came from behind the short demon venerable. This demon venerable was an old man who had transformed into an immortal Tao cultivator. He was also a demon venerable and was slightly stronger than the giant demon Su Fong had killed before. Su Fong was no stranger to this demon race. This demon race powerhouse had once fought with Su Fong in Heaven Great World. Su Fong still had the blood oath demon bead condensed from the demon god. Su Fong was no stranger to that short and peerless demon race expert. This peerless great demon, whose strength was comparable to a high-level Tao realm expert, was none other than demon venerable barbarian god. Unexpectedly, he really did not expect to meet demon venerable barbarian god here again. Demon venerable demon. This demon race's demon clan's demon ancestor demon. He should have died long ago, but he used the demon race's supreme hibernation technique to preserve his physical body and primordial spirit, allowing him to live until now. In Heaven Great World, Su Fongda fought the demon race's expert demon venerable man Sure. In the end, demon venerable man Sure awakened demon venerable man Sure from his hibernation state. In the end, demon venerable man Sure was severely injured by Su Fong and fell back in a hibernation state. After demon venerable man Sure was suppressed by Su Fong, he was controlled by night demon's second primordial spirit. After demon venerable man Sure and demon venerable bone River rushed to Heaven Great World, demon venerable bone River was killed by Su Fong. Demon venerable man Sure was forced to swear a demon oath, promising that the demon race would never step into that immortal domain. In exchange, Su Fong returned demon venerable man Sure to the demon race. Unexpectedly, at this moment, demon venerable man Sure woke up again and recovered to the Tao realm's high level. This shocked Su Fong. In the face of demon venerable man Sure's angry roar, Su Fong smiled faintly. He slightly activated the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique and at the same time used his great perfection stage ability to wrap around demon venerable man Sure's body. It actually contained some death chi and evil chi. So demon venerable barbarian god was able to recover by borrowing the power of the heaven and earth metamorphosis. However, from the looks of it, he has yet to recover to his peak state from the ancient era. Su Fong used the Heaven Secret Life shrinking technique and great perfection stage ability to sense demon venerable man Sure's aura. He couldn't help but be surprised. The cultivators, demons, and big goblin that used the evil power of the heaven and earth anomaly to revive would have their consciousness become incomparably evil. Although demon venerable man Sure wasn't a fully revived demon, his consciousness would definitely become violent and evil under the influence of the heaven and earth anomaly. He wondered if Night Demon's great perfection stage ability would be affected by Night Demon's second primordial spirit. Swish, swish, swish. Feng Ling, Dao Xian Tian, and the other Heaven's Mandate How Tsang sect cultivators came behind Su Fong. Su Fong raised his eyebrows and asked, "Why aren't you guys leaving?" Feng Ling said indifferently, "Su Fong, don't look down on us. Although we're not as strong as you, it doesn't mean we're afraid of death. We have the same determination and courage as you to fight the demon race to the death." The other Heaven's Mandate How Tsang sect cultivators also nodded. There was no trace of fear in their eyes. Instead, there was a determination to face death. Su Fong's heart warmed. Although these peerless geniuses of Heaven's Mandate How Tsang sect were incomparably arrogant and had their eyes on top of their heads, they were still able to step forward bravely in times of true danger. Compared to them, the higher-ups of Heaven's Mandate How Tsang sect who only knew how to protect themselves were truly chilling. It's not time to fight to the death yet. Listen to my instructions and don't make a move for the time being. Su Fong instructed. It's not time to fight to the death yet. Feng Ling and the others were surprised but didn't ask anything. At this time, brutal Devil Venerable's voice was filled with killing intent. Su Fong, you killed the expert of my clan, Man Sure, and forced me to make a poisonous oath and condense the demonic blood oath pearl. If we were in the desolate immortal domain, I wouldn't dare to make a move against you due to the oath. I didn't expect you to come to the central immortal domain and even become the #1 genius of the great world. What a great reputation. Let's see how you're going to escape from my hands this time. Su Fong mocked. The giant devil you came to rescue this time has the aura of your man clan. He should be one of your clansmen, right? I also killed him. His corpse was devoured by the yellow spring blood sea and turned into nutrients for my cultivation. The army of 100,000 devils was also annihilated. What? Brutal, giant devil venerable was killed by this immortal Tao cultivator? Even his army of 100,000 was annihilated? This immortal Tao cultivator must be spouting nonsense. Immortal Tao cultivators are a bunch of weaklings who can't even withstand a single blow. Brutal, giant devil venerable's strength is extremely strong. Moreover, he had an army of 100,000 devils. It's enough to wipe out an entire immortal domain. How could he be suppressed by him? A commotion broke out among the devil army. However, most of the devil cultivators didn't believe Su Fong's words. In their minds, the immortal Tao world was rich and fertile, while the immortal Tao cultivators were weak and incompetent. A single devil cultivator could easily kill 10 immortal Tao cultivators of the same level. Su Fong's words were simply sensational. Su Fong, I will use your head to wash away the hatred of the Man Clan. After killing your heavenly mandate luminous sects Daozi and these peerless geniuses of the heavenly mandate luminous sect, the Man Clan will have made a great contribution to the devil race. From now on, their position in the devil race will be as stable as a rock. Brutal giant devil venerable had witnessed Su Fong's strength with his own eyes. At that time, Su Fong was only in the sage immortal realm and could easily kill Bone River Devil Venerable. Now that Su Fong had ascended to the Tao realm, it wouldn't be difficult for him to kill brutal giant devil venerable and his army of 100,000 devils. Brutal giant devil venerable and his army of 100,000 devils were most likely suppressed by Su Fong. Brutal giant devil venerable let out a thunderous roar and was about to lead his army to attack Su Fong. Feng Ling and the other heavenly mandate luminous sect cultivators tensed up and revealed resolute expressions. They unleashed their divine might and were about to engage in a life and death battle with the devil race. Suddenly, brutal giant devil venerable, who had been silent all this time, waved his hand. The attack that brutal giant devil venerable and his army had been accumulating power for suddenly stopped. In the next moment, brutal giant devil venerable's voice resounded in Su Fong's mind. Who are you? I'm far away in the immortal devil battlefield. I sense your arrival and specially rushed here. Why do I have a strong feeling that I must submit to you and obey your orders? The immortal devil battlefield was countless immortal worlds away from here. Yet, brutal giant devil venerable was able to sense Su Fong's existence. From this, one could see how powerful this ancient great devil was. Su Fong raised his eyebrows and replied with his primordial spirit, I'm your master. Could it be that you've forgotten this? Master? That's right. You're my master. No, I'm a peerless expert of the devil race, the ancestral devil of the devil race's Man Clan. You're just an early-stage Tao realm cultivator. What qualifications do you have to be my master? Brutal giant devil venerable's eyes flashed with a bloody light, and his face instantly turned hideous. This brutal giant devil venerable wants to break free from the control of his consciousness. He's obviously underestimating brutal giant devil venerable's strength and the influence of the heaven and earth anomaly. Su Fong was shocked and immediately became vigilant. While brutal giant devil venerable was in a dormant state, his second primordial spirit controlled his consciousness. Unexpectedly, brutal giant devil venerable's strength had recovered by more than half with the help of the heaven and earth anomaly. His consciousness was affected by the evil power and became violent and evil. The control of his consciousness also weakened. Other than the devil god, who else in the entire immortal world is qualified to be my master? Even the lord of the devil world isn't qualified, let alone you. Once I kill you, this feeling of disgust in my consciousness will naturally disappear. Brutal giant devil Venerable's primordial spirit roared and took a step forward. With a terrifying aura that could destroy everything, he went straight for Su Fong. The expressions of the cultivators of heaven's mandate, how Tsong's sect changed drastically. Under the terrifying aura of brutal giant devil Venerable, they were shocked to find that their true chi and magic power were shackled. They couldn't circulate them, and their direct connection with the heaven and earth was also shackled. They couldn't use their divine abilities. Only then did these peerless geniuses of the heavens mandate Hao Tsong's sect understand how huge the gap between them and this ancient peerless devil was. Su Fong didn't move an inch and looked at brutal giant devil Venerable indifferently. Brutal giant devil Venerable, you dare to kill your master? Su Fong's primordial spirit's voice exploded with the aura of a supreme ruler. Then he activated his purple cloud Dharma spirit and Emperor Qi to condense a huge purple cloud canopy above his head. A supreme luck that even the heavenly Tao couldn't suppress, and an Emperor Qi that ruled the heaven and earth burst out and covered all directions. The scene of Su Fong devouring the luck of tens of millions of devil race army flashed in brutal giant devil Venerable's mind again. His eyes flashed with incomparable fear and wariness. Under this aura, the monstrous ferocity of the devil race army was suppressed to the extreme. Every one of them trembled. Some of the weaker devil race cultivators couldn't help but want to submit to Su Fong and worship him. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1599. Novel Chapter 1618. Revenge-destined hero demon, venerable barbarian god's aura was instantly suppressed and quickly became sluggish. Even his body stopped moving. Hesitation and confusion appeared in his eyes. Barbarian god, I am your master. If you dare to kill your master, you will be punished by the heavens. Even the demon god will not be able to save you. Are you still not going to submit? Su Fong's voice was like the voice of the heavenly Tao. It exploded in demon, venerable barbarian god's mind like thunder. In the depths of demon, venerable barbarian god's consciousness, the second primordial spirit used night demon's method to plant the seed of submission. Under Su Fong's divine might, this thought of submission instantly gained the upper hand and temporarily suppressed the evil and rebellious will. However, demon venerable barbarian god was an unparalleled expert in the ancient era. His primordial spirit was already incomparably powerful. Under the influence of the heavenly Tao, his consciousness became evil and incomparably violent. The second primordial spirit's control over him naturally weakened. In addition, when the second primordial spirit used its primordial spirit divine ability on demon venerable barbarian god, its primordial spirit power was not enough to completely control such a peerless devil. It was natural for demon venerable barbarian god to lose control now. Demon venerable barbarian god's evil will had just been suppressed. He immediately suppressed the thought of submission and let out a manic roar. The terrifying demonic sound shook the surrounding space until it collapsed layer by layer. Su Fong, the heavenly mandate bright firmament sects, cultivators, and the devil cultivators all bled from their 7 orifices. At the next moment, demon venerable barbarian god stepped forward step by step. His body crazily expanded. When he arrived in front of Su Fong, he transformed into a ferocious heavenly devil that was 100 zhang tall. A heaven-defying evil will shook the heavens and set off gusts of strong wind. Some of the heavenly mandate bright firmament sects, cultivators who were below the Tao realm behind Su Fong, were swept away by the strong wind. Su Fong was also swaying. He could not stand firmly. The purple chi canopy above his head shattered layer by layer. It quickly shrunk to the size of 100 zhang. The Emperor's divine might also shattered along with it. Damn it, I actually lost control. Purple chi Dharma spirit, Emperor's fortune. At such a critical moment, Su Fong did not have time to use other supernatural powers. He used all his strength to explode his purple chi dharma spirit. At the same time, he activated his chi of the emperor to the extreme. The two merged together to form a divine power that could suppress all wills. I am a supreme heavenly demon, protected by the demon god and the evil god. What kind of will can suppress me? Ant kneel before me. Demon venerable barbarian god laughed wantonly like a peerless demon god. He had a heaven-defying aura that even the heavenly Tao could not suppress. Su Fang's divine might clashed with barbarian god demon venerable's will, but he was gradually suppressed and found it hard to resist. Suddenly, there was a huge commotion in his mind. It turned out to be the Tao runes of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. A large number of mysterious Tao runes surged into his mind. There were many Tao runes that Su Fang had cultivated before, but there were also some Tao runes that he was unfamiliar with. If I want to live, the heavens will not be able to take it from me. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I want something, the heavens cannot do without it. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I am destroyed, everything will be shattered. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I live forever, I will never die. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I become an immortal, the gate of immortality will open. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I day and night, the heavens and earth will shake. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I am the ruler, the myriad of worlds will submit to me. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If the heavens punish me, I will defy the heavens. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If the earth buries me, I will destroy the earth. What is this? Could it be a new ability of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique? Just how mysterious was the heaven's secret life shrinking technique? Even with that mysterious woman's strength and countless years of cultivation, she had not even comprehended 1% of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique's profundity. All these years, Su Fang had never stopped cultivating the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. However, ever since he comprehended the lightning of destiny, it was difficult for him to comprehend any new profundity from the mysterious Tao runes. At this moment, Su Fang activated the purple Chi Dharma spirit and the Chi of the monarch to fight against demon venerable barbarian god with supreme luck. He did not expect to capture the powerful ability of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. Su Fang was pleasantly surprised. He immediately separated a young immortal to decipher these Tao runes. Fate is the creation of good fortune, controlling the mysteries of the heavens. If I am the ruler, the myriad of worlds will submit to me. He deciphered the unfamiliar Tao runes and fused them with a Tao rune that Su Fang saw previously. If I am the ruler, the myriad of worlds will submit to me. Su Fang was enlightened. The fusion of the purple Chi Dharma spirit and the Chi of the monarch brought him supreme luck. Luck was also a kind of fate. It was because of this that Su Fang obtained a new powerful ability of the heavenly secret life shrinking technique. This ability was not to deceive one's own fate aura, nor was it to forcefully seize the fate and karma of others. It was also not to erase the fate of others. Instead, it was a supreme ability that suppressed the fate, faith, and will of others, making the heavens and earth submit to it. This ability was slightly different from the purple Chi Dharma spirit. The purple Chi Dharma spirit was because of the great fertility purple Chi. It brought Su Fang supreme luck and was protected by the heavenly Tao. Together with the Chi of the monarch, it could form a supreme ruler's divine aura that could suppress the enemy's will. On the other hand, the heavenly secret life shrinking technique was like the fate bestowed by the heavenly Tao to cultivators. It was powerful and domineering. If I am the ruler, Everyone will have to bow their heads and submit to the majesty of fate. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, demon venerable barbarian god's evil consciousness crushed Su Fong's purple chi canopy. Thou disciple, be careful. Feng Ling and the other heavens mandate how Tsang sect cultivators cried out in alarm. Demon venerable barbarian god laughed maniacally, causing the death chi and evil chi in the heavens and earth to surge. At this moment, demon venerable barbarian god did not look like a demon venerable, but an evil god. Su Fong, aren't you too ignorant? How dare you resist the supreme ruler of the barbarian clan's ancestral devil? Go to hell. When you are suppressed by the ancestral devil, I will let the resurrected experts enter the heaven great world and wipe out your family, friends, and all life in that immortal domain. The demonic blood oath pearl will also lose its restraining effect. Ha ha! Demon venerable barbarian god laughed unscrupulously. Hizun, who was watching from 100,000 miles away, revealed a pleased expression. He said gloomily, "It's good that you're dead. I won't have to do it myself." Suddenly, Su Fong's gaze became ethereal and ethereal. His body also emitted a terrifying aura that defied the heavens and seized the fortune of the heavens and earth. It made all things in the world, and even the formless fate, submit to it. The fortune of fate controls the heavenly secrets. If I am the ruler, all worlds will submit to me. Su Fong activated the heaven secret life shrinking technique and looked at demon venerable barbarian god. An invisible hand that came from the unseen fate pressed down on demon venerable barbarian god's body, soul, and even the fate that couldn't be seen. In a split second, the evil flames on demon venerable barbarian god's body, which caused the sky to change color, immediately shattered and disappeared. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Demon venerable barbarian god's consciousness also underwent an intense change when the hand fell. It was as if Su Fong was the master who controlled his fate. He was born like this, and it was impossible for him to defy the heavens and change his fate. Using the heaven secret life shrinking technique to suppress a peak expert of a great world caused Su Fong to suffer a huge loss. His current appearance was close to 50 years old, and his black hair had turned white. Master, demon venerable barbarian god, looked at Su Fong. Although the evil look in his eyes didn't change, it was filled with reverence. Just as he was about to bow to Su Fong's voice resounded in his mind. Don't expose our relationship in front of outsiders. Leave with the devil army. I will contact you again if there is a chance in the future. Yes, master. Demon venerable barbarian god replied with his primordial spirit. Turning around, demon venerable barbarian god shouted coldly at the devil army, "Retreat! Retreat? We are about to kill Su Fong and the peerless geniuses of heaven's mandate Hao Tsang sect. Retreat now?" The millions of devil cultivators were all dumbfounded. This change was too fast. It was so fast that they couldn't react. Lord Ancestor Devil, are you mistaken? Demon venerable barbarian god asked carefully. Boom! Demon venerable barbarian god waved his hand and swept up a devil aura. It hit demon venerable barbarian god's chest and sent him flying. He fell into the devil army. Demon venerable barbarian god didn't know how many devil cultivators were killed. He flew for over 100 miles and passed through the devil army. Only then did he stabilize himself. He spat out a few mouthfuls of devil blood and immediately fell into a heavily injured state. Many devil cultivators couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. They were all trembling with fear. Go! Demon venerable barbarian god escaped into the void and disappeared without a trace. Ancestor Devil was furious. How could these devil cultivators of the barbarian clan not listen to his orders? The million devil army quickly turned around and retreated in an orderly manner. They soon disappeared from the sight of Su Fong and the others. Feng Ling and the other heavens mandate Hao Tsang sect disciples turned into wood. They couldn't recover for a long time. How can this be? Damn demon venerable barbarian god. Why didn't he kill Su Fong? Seeing that Su Fong was about to be killed by demon venerable barbarian god, Mo Wutian's master, Hizun, was filled with joy of revenge. Who knew that demon venerable barbarian god would suddenly retreat with the devil army? Hizun was dumbfounded. He fell into a state of surprise and intense shock. Heavenly punishment? Could it be because of the heavenly punishment that demon venerable barbarian god was afraid and had no choice but to retreat? Hizun quickly reacted. Then he took it for granted that Su Fong was the son of heaven's mandate and was protected by the heavenly Tao. Demon venerable barbarian god attacked Su Fong and attracted the heavenly punishment. That was why he suddenly did such an inconceivable thing. Su Fong has also suffered heavy losses. If I can take this opportunity to kill him. Hizun's eyes flashed with a ruthless light. However, when he thought of the terrifying heavenly punishment, Hizun couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart. He immediately dispelled this unrealistic idea. Su Fong used the Yellow Springs Blood Sea to devour demon venerable barbarian god and his 100,000 devil army. He also repelled demon venerable barbarian god and his million devil army. Before he reached the immortal demon battlefield, the news quickly spread. The immortal Tao world was shocked. When they heard this news, everyone felt that it was inconceivable. However, the 300 peerless geniuses of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect had witnessed it with their own eyes. They had no choice but to believe it. When the apocalypse arrived, the shadow of death shrouded the immortal Tao world. On the immortal demon battlefield, the immortal Tao cultivators led by Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect suffered setbacks again and again. They suffered heavy casualties and their morale hit rock bottom. At this time, the immortal Tao side needed a hero to raise the morale of the immortal Tao cultivators. The people also needed a hero. Only then could they see a glimmer of hope. And Su Fong was the best candidate. Therefore, under the deliberate propaganda of the immortal Tao side and many cultivators, Su Fong was molded into a heavenly hero. The heavenly Tao gave him the mission to save the immortal Tao. He had the supreme ability to restrain the devil race and resurrect powerhouses. For a time, Su Fong was like a divine sun slowly rising into the sky. His radiance was boundless, more dazzling than the 5 divine suns in the sky. Novel equals _our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1600. Su Fong himself didn't know that killing Manju and 100,000 devil cultivators and forcing demon venerable barbarian god and 1,000,000 devil army to retreat would bring him such a great reputation. After demon venerable barbarian god and the devil army retreated, Su Fong used 10 days to devour the life essence of the remaining giant devils and 100,000 devil cultivators, quickly recovering his consumed life force. Such a fast recovery rate shocked the cultivators of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect again. Venerable, he originally planned to take advantage of Su Fong's weakened life force to kill Su Fong in one fell swoop. This scene made him secretly rejoice. Due to He Tsang sect's action of retreating in the face of battle, although the special disciples of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect still maintained respect for the great elder on the surface, their hearts were filled with disdain. Everyone's performance made He Tsang sect's killing intent towards Su Fong even stronger, but he hit it even deeper. Half a year later, Su Fong and the 300 special disciples of Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect arrived at the immortal demon battlefield. At first glance, everyone was incomparably shocked. A huge natural force formed a sky ravine, separated by 1,000 li. On the other side of the sky ravine, immortal cities and fortresses built with supreme divine abilities floated in the air, as well as huge barriers, forming a line of defense that stretched as far as the eye could see. Countless cultivators of the immortal Tao were coming and going, creating a spectacular scene. On the other side of the sky ravine was the devil camp. Dark devil chi and death chi shrouded the devil camp like a dark cloud. The scene inside couldn't be seen clearly. It looked like a terrifying monster that could devour everything. Immortal and devil sides went through countless battles before finally reaching a stalemate here. Every once in a while, there would be a world-shaking battle. The battle caused the natural energy of heaven and earth in the sky ravine to be imbalanced. The laws were chaotic, forming a terrifying spatial turbulence. From time to time, the airflow would turn into a storm and sweep through the sky ravine. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled, erupting with earth-shaking sounds, looking very shocking. Monstrous killing intent enveloped the heavens and earth. It mixed with the deathly aura, viciousness, and the thick smell of blood that Xie Yang brought, making this space seem like a world of slaughter. From time to time, corpses of immortal Tao cultivators, demons, and resurrected experts would be tossed about by the turbulence in the sky ravine. There were also countless fragments of Tao treasures and demonic treasures. Not only did the immortal and devil realm have a large number of people, but they also had countless experts. Even a high-level Tao master could die in the war. Su Fong had just approached the immortal Tao camp when a group of cultivators immediately flew over to interrogate them. Su Fong? Are you the Taoist Su Fong of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect? The leader was an immortal venerable expert from another sect. After learning about Su Fong's identity, he couldn't help but be shocked. His face was filled with awe, and so were the other cultivators. Being ignored to the side, although on the surface nothing could be seen, in his heart he was extremely angry. Please wait for a moment, Taoist. Tao Master Han, Su has ordered that when you arrive, we must report to him. The leader of the immortal venerable experts cupped his fists to Su Fong and then took out a rune talisman to transmit the voice of his nascent spirit. A moment later, clang, clang, the solemn and sonorous sound of a bell rang throughout the entire defensive line. Even the demons on the other side of the sky ravine could hear it clearly. A passage opened in the boundary above the immortal Tao camp, and cultivators flew out from it. The leader was none other than Tao Master Han Su. Some of the higher-ups of the Heaven's Mandate Hao Tsang sect, including the Great Elder, elders, the sect leader, special disciples, and thousands of peerless experts and geniuses from various sects in the immortal Tao world. Almost all of the top experts and young geniuses on the immortal Tao side were present. Su Fong, Tao Master Han, Su laughed loudly and led the crowd to welcome him. Numerous sharp gazes fell on Su Fong, and in an instant, Su Fong became the center of attention. The experts looked at Su Fong with admiration, gratification, and disbelief. The peerless geniuses, on the other hand, looked at Su Fong with eyes full of fanaticism. Of course, there were also a few who were doubtful and unconvinced. Lord Tao Master, why have you come personally? Su Fong did not expect Tao Master Han, Su, to come personally with so many experts. You are the destined hero of the immortal Tao and the bane of the demons. I naturally have to welcome you personally. Tao Master Han Su laughed. Destined hero? Hearing the origin of the so-called destined hero, Su Fong was shocked and did not know whether to laugh or cry. In the great war of immortals and demons, reputation was not necessarily a good thing. A tall tree attracts the wind, and a great reputation can bring unexpected danger to him. Su Fong, you are indeed amazing. You have become the destined hero of the immortal Tao before even reaching the immortal demon battlefield. Even I cannot help but envy you. Dao Hengtian flew out from the crowd. Su Fong nodded with a smile. Dao Hengtian. At this moment, Dao Hengtian looked more mature and experienced, as well as a towering, domineering aura. It turned out that when the great war of immortals and demons began, Dao Hengtian had taken the initiative to come to the immortal demon battlefield with the higher-ups of his sect. After experiencing countless battles and the baptism of battle, not only his strength, but his entire temperament had transformed. Dao Hengtian said, I've already killed 3 demon sovereigns. On the immortal Tao battle achievement list, I'm ranked around the 30th place, but you've only killed 1 demon sovereign. According to our agreement before the battle, you've lost. Su Fong said with a smile, the great war of immortals and demons has just begun. It is too early to talk about victory and defeat. Next, I will definitely kill more demon sovereigns than you. I'm just afraid that the demons do not have enough demon sovereigns for me to kill. The two looked at each other and smiled. An aura of contempt for heaven and earth arose spontaneously. Everyone was shocked. The demon sovereigns of the demons were far more powerful than the immortal Tao cultivators of the same level. Furthermore, the vitality of the demons was tenacious. It was easy to defeat them, but difficult to kill them. Not to mention the resurrected demons. If one did not have the means to restrain them, they would be even more difficult to kill. From the start of the battle until now, the immortal Tao cultivators had lost more than 300 immortal sovereigns, while the demons had lost less than 50 demon sovereigns. The disparity between the two sides was evident. Among the immortal Tao cultivators, even the top cultivators were filled with fear towards the demons and resurrected demons. Su Fang and Dao Hongtian, however, viewed the demon sovereigns as ants. They competed in the number of demon sovereigns they could kill. How arrogant and domineering. Su Fang and Dao Hongtian walk side by side, as Holy Man Han Su and the other cultivators follow behind. Like stars surrounding the moon, they passed through the formation together and arrived at an immortal city deep within the defensive line. The bell that welcomed Su Fang had just sounded when the various fortresses, strongholds, and immortal cities that formed the defensive line of the immortal Tao cultivators erupted into cheers. With Su Fang's arrival, the morale of the immortal Tao cultivators, which had been somewhat low, was lifted. At the demon camp on the other side of the sky ravine, a figure stood in the air with his hands behind his back, looking at the immortal Tao cultivators. This demon wore a large black cloak and looked to be in his 40s. He was tall and had a dignified square face. His deep eyes flashed with a sharp light, as if they could see through the endless void and see through everything. The immortal Tao cultivator's hero. The middle-aged demon raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a smile that was filled with killing intent. This person's name was Chi Ao, and he was the leader of the demon world. Not only was his strength equivalent to an advanced Tao cultivator, but his status was also extraordinary. He was the uncle of the lord of the demon world, Su Fang. Beside Chi Ao stood more than a dozen demon race experts. Among them was a handsome young man. He was none other than the demon race's holy son, Ming Yan. He had a cold smile on his face. It was obvious that he was not happy with his defeat at Su Fang's hands. Another demon youth wore a dark golden mask. What a mortal Tao cultivator! He snorted disdainfully. He's just a figurehead made up by the immortal Tao. I'll go challenge him right now and kill him like a chicken. I'll shatter the lies of the immortal Tao and see if they can continue to be arrogant then. This demon youth was the youngest son of the Lord of the Demon World, the young Lord of the Demon World. The Lord of the Demon World had many sons, but this demon youth was the Lord of the Demon World's favorite. Although his status wasn't as high as Ming Yan's, he was still a peerless genius of the demon world. He participated in the great war of immortals and demons to gain experience. Chi Ao shook his head. Young Lord Qi Ming, this person was able to defeat Ming Yan and kill Manju. Even Senior Barbarian God is wary of him for some reason. You're not his match. If you encounter him, try your best to avoid fighting him. Qi Ming wasn't convinced, but he didn't dare disobey Chi Ao's orders. He smiled sheepishly, his eyes flashing with a demonic light. No one knew what he was thinking. Chi Ao looked at one of the demon cultivators and asked in a low voice. When demon sovereign barbarian God encountered Su Fang, he clearly could have suppressed him. Why did he retreat instead of fighting? Did you find out the reason? The demon cultivator smiled wryly. Demon sovereign barbarian God used the changes in the world to awaken. Just like those revived cultivators, he's violent and temperamental. He doesn't listen to orders at all. I want to ask him this time, but I didn't see him at all. Revived cultivators, Chi Ao's deep eyes flashed with worry. Since the start of the great war of immortals and demons, the combined strength of the demon world's resurrected cultivators was enough to overwhelm the immortal Tao. However, they hadn't launched an all-out attack yet. The reason for this stalemate was due to the demon race's vigilance against the revived cultivators. Chi Ao continued, "Pass down my orders." Su Fang's ranking on the demon race's assassination list will be raised to 5th place. Anyone who kills Su Fang will be the master of an immortal domain. 5th place on the assassination list? Many of the demon race's experts were shocked. The demon race had a secret assassination list. Experts hidden in the immortal Dao and Yao world would assassinate important figures of the immortal Dao and Yao world. Those in the top 10 of the assassination list were all top figures of the immortal Dao and Yao world. For Su Fang to be ranked 5th, it was clear how important he was to Chi Ao. Chapter 1601. A Palace in the Immortal Dao Faction. The Immortal Dao Faction's cities, palaces, and other structures were all constructed with combat arts and formations, as if they were real. Most cultivators lived in a stone house with a dozen or so people, but Su Fang could live in his own palace. This was a privilege reserved for the Immortal Dao Faction's heavyweights. Ordinary cultivators naturally couldn't enjoy this privilege. Su Fang, Dao Hongtian arrived at the palace. The two conversed. They were both very worried about the war between the Immortal Dao faction and the Demon faction. The world had undergone another upheaval. Natural spiritual qi was suppressed by the evil aura of death and violence, greatly reducing the strength of the Immortal Dao faction's cultivators. On the other hand, the Demon faction, and the Big Goblin that had been resurrected through the upheaval were much more powerful. The Immortal Dao faction was in an absolute disadvantage. This was a reality that no one could change. Su Fang and Dao Hongtian were both geniuses, but it wouldn't change anything no matter how many demon sovereigns they killed. In the war between the Immortal Dao faction and the Demon faction, the strength of an individual was minuscule, unless they were as strong as the gods of a greater world. Just do your best and have a clear conscience. Su Fang dismissed his worries and said decisively. Dao Hongtian sighed. That's right. You and I only need to do our best and kill as many demons as we can. Don't worry about the rest. Dao Hongtian suddenly released a divine aura that shielded the surroundings. I've come to find you because I want to invite you to a certain place. Where? The heavenly divide between the Immortal Dao faction and the Demon faction. Demon hunting. The Immortal Dao faction and the Demon faction had faced off on both sides of the heavenly divide after several major battles. Therefore, some experts from both the Immortal and Devil sides entered the Sky Ravine and hunted each other, exchanging each other's heads for battle merits. The higher-ups of both factions didn't restrict these private actions. Instead, they encouraged them. As a result, countless experts entered the heavenly divide every day. Those who dared to enter the heavenly divide were true experts. After more than a year, the Immortal Dao faction suffered casualties, but the Immortal Dao faction suffered the most. In order to encourage the Immortal Dao cultivators to kill as many demons as possible, the Heavenly Mandate Bright Firmament sect offered bountiful rewards in exchange for battle contributions. Rewards were one thing, but the rankings on the war merit list were also very important to the Immortal Dao faction. Dao Hongtian had killed many demons and resurrected demon faction experts in the Heavenly Divide, so he was one of the war merits. However, as the battles continued, his ranking was gradually overtaken by the cultivators who often entered the Sky Ravine to hunt demons, and he fell to the 30th place. Heavenly Mandate Bright faction naturally wouldn't allow him to risk his life. Heavenly Dao factions. Now that Su Fang was here, he couldn't help but invite Su Fang to go with him. Hunt Demon Dao faction, God's Dao faction, Bright Dao's faction, Dao Hongtian Dao Bright. Dao Hongtian wore a white jade mask and suppressed his aura to the peak of the 9th Dao Saint stage. Ghost-Face Rakshasa. Su Fang took out the Ghost-Face Rakshasa. It had been a long time since he had last used this mask. After putting it on his face, it quickly fused with his facial muscles, giving him the appearance of a ferocious demon. If he were to release demonic energy, he would be no different from a demonic cultivator. Wearing the ghost-faced Rakshasa Su Fong, she looked full of evil aura. On the side of the immortal Tao, there are also many evil Tao cultivators. Among them, there were even some evil Tao cultivators who were unwilling to surrender to the devil race. Although Su Fong's attire was strange, it would not attract any special attention. Su Fong also suppressed his aura. Just like Dao Hengtian, he looked like a ninth Dao, Saint Immortal. The two of them left the palace. After being interrogated, they flew out of the defensive line and headed straight for the Sky Ravine. The Sky Ravine was originally a dangerous place created by the forces of nature. After several battles, the energy of heaven and earth had become even more chaotic. There were turbulent flows and chaotic forces everywhere. There are also terrifying spatial rifts. Ordinary immortal emperors would be in danger of dying if they entered. However, it was only a little troublesome for Su Fong and Dao Hengtian. Whoosh, whoosh. As soon as they entered the turbulence, more than 10 immortal Dao cultivators flew over from behind. Evil Dao cultivators? Could they be spies from the immortal Dao cultivators? A immortal Dao cultivator's eyes turned sharp when he saw the ghost-faced Rakshasa on Su Fong's face. The others also looked vigilant. Naturally, Su Fong would not explain anything. With a flash, she entered a turbulent vortex. Ghost-faced Rakshasa, remember our agreement. Let's see who can kill more devil venerables, Dao Hengtian said loudly before disappearing into the turbulence. A mere ninth Dao, Saint Immortal dares to boast about killing devil venerables? Dao Hengtian's words caused the immortal Dao cultivators to laugh. 3 days later, rumble. Amidst the flashing lightning and rumbling thunder, a figure leaped out in a sorry state. It was Su Fong who had entered the Sky Ravine. Su Fong still underestimated the dangers of the Sky Ravine. Under the influence of the chaotic energy, his perfect state ability was also suppressed. As soon as he entered the Sky Ravine, he was sucked into an extraterritorial space by a turbulent current. When he finally managed to leave, he was unlucky enough to enter an area of chaotic lightning. If it wasn't for the fact that he had cultivated the Thunder Punishment True Body and devoured the golden core of the Thunder Night Island's master, his thunder element power would have increased tremendously. Otherwise, he would have been injured and not just in a sorry state. Buzz, he could sense a cultivator at the peak of the ninth Dao, Saint Immortal stage flying towards him from over 10,000 feet to his right. It was none other than Tuayu, whom he had not seen for a long time. Not far away from Tuayu, a Devil Clan expert shuttled through the chaotic airflow to kill him, but Tuayu was completely unaware. I didn't expect to meet Tuayu here. Su Fong smiled, then slightly activated his blood transformation true body, releasing the demonic chi in his golden core origin. He immediately turned into a Demon Clan master and went straight for Tuayu. A Demon Clan cultivator. Tuayu saw Su Fong in front of him and the Demon Clan master chasing after him. He couldn't help but be shocked. Then, he unleashed his aura and rushed towards Su Fong with all his might. My clansman in front, stop this immortal Dao cultivator. You and I will split his body equally. The Demon Clan master behind him laughed savagely and unleashed a terrifying demonic chi. His speed suddenly increased by several times, and he was only 1,000 feet away from Tuayu in the blink of an eye. Chi! Su Fong activated the sword orb on his finger. Pushed by a divine power that could distort space, his body traversed thousands of feet in an instant and suddenly appeared beside the Demon Clan master. The Demon Clan master was shocked and shocked. He hurriedly activated the demonic chi to condense a layer of black and hard demonic armor on the surface of his body. Chi! 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 Su Fong activated the silver thread sword chi and easily penetrated the Demon Clan master's demonic armor and body. Even his head was pierced by dozens of sword chi. This Demon Clan master, who had reached the peak of the ninth Dao, Saint Immortal realm, died in a daze just like that. Su Fong formed a sword chi and cut off the Demon Clan master's head, then threw it to Tuayu. He then put the corpse into the true dragon realm and threw it to the gluttonous devils to eat. It's Su Fong. Tuoyu recognized Su Fong's identity and couldn't help but be surprised. Tuoyu was overjoyed when he put away the Demon Clan Master's head. Killing a Demon Clan Master who was equivalent to the peak of the 9th Dao, sane immortal realm, could be exchanged for a lot of battle merits. Just like that, Su Fong transformed into a ghost-faced Rakshasa and reaped the lives of the Demon Clan Masters like a Grim Reaper. Although there were many demon sovereigns and resurrected experts who had entered the Sky Ravine, it was difficult for Su Fong to encounter one in the chaotic natural environment of the Sky Ravine. Therefore, the Demon Clan Masters and resurrected experts that Su Fong killed were all at the peak of the 9th Dao, Saint, Immortal Realm. As for those who were weaker, Su Fong didn't even bother to take their heads after killing them. At the same time, Su Fong also released powerful big goblins such as Bai Ling, Zhu Huang, Tong Tian Demon Sovereign, Old Monster Zhu Tian, Old Immortal Pahua, the Great Monk, and the 5 monsters of the Ghost Dao. Even Dai Yi took the initiative to come out and join the Demon Hunter team as a trial. With the help of various resources provided by Su Fong, these experts under his command had grown to astonishing heights. The only thing they lacked was actual combat experience. However, to prevent any accidents from happening, Su Fong didn't let them out of his sensing range so that he could rescue them in time if they encountered any danger. After experiencing the baptism of battle, after experiencing injuries and even the dangers of death, the fighting strength of these great demons and experts had once again undergone a metamorphosis. About half a year later, Su Fong left the Sky Ravine and returned to the camp of the Immortal Dao, arriving at a small immortal city deep in the rear. Putting away his mask, Su Fong reverted to his original appearance and arrived at the central square of the city. Above the square was a giant scroll that was 300 meters tall. It hung from the sky all the way to the ground, its Xian Guang sparkling as it formed names. The War Merit Ranking. Those who could make it onto the War Merit Ranking were the true powerhouses of the Immortal Dao. Many experts and peerless geniuses had proven their strength by making it onto the War Merit Ranking. The top 30 of the War Merit list were all famous, peerless powerhouses or hidden powerhouses. In the previous battles, they had killed countless demons and resurrected powerhouses to accumulate so many war merits. However, these experts didn't really care about the War Merit Ranking. What they cared about was the treasures and resources they could exchange for battle merits. In this war of immortals and demons, the Heavenly Mandate Haotsong sect and other major factions didn't dare to hide anything. They used treasures that would make even the most powerful experts of the Dao realm go green with envy to entice them to participate in the war. The younger generation of experts were fighting for the top 30 spots on the War Merit Ranking. Su Fong saw a cultivator who specialized in checking and registering battle merits at the bottom of the scroll. He was busy checking the battle merits of some demon hunters and registering their battle merits. He walked over to the cultivator. Su Fong, you're finally back. Dao Hengtian flew over and landed in front of Su Fong. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1602. Su Fong furrowed his brows and asked in surprise, "What a coincidence." Dao Hengtian smiled and said, "It's not a coincidence. I've been waiting for you here to see who has the biggest harvest this time. You're definitely not as good as me. Let's see if you don't believe me." Su Fong, of course, knew that Dao Hengtian was indifferent by nature. He didn't compete with him for fame or reward, but for mutual encouragement between friends. The two laughed and walked to the bottom of the War Merit Board. Asterisk Hua. Asterisk, the crowd in front suddenly exclaimed. One of the immortal venerables who was in charge of registering the battle merits formed a seal and shot out a dark light that landed on the battle merit list. The Xian Guang on the War Merit Board flickered and the ranking changed. A name that was ranked 31st bloomed with resplendent brilliance. Mu Xingfeng. This peerless genius named Mu Xingfeng was ranked 31st on the War Merit Board. Although his ranking didn't seem high, it was actually very shocking. That was because the top 30 was a secluded expert whose cultivation base had reached the high level of the Tao realm. The rest of the top 30 were either famous peerless experts or secluded experts who had made a name for themselves for many years. In other words, Mu Xingfeng was ranked first among the peerless geniuses of the younger generation, surpassing Dao Hongtian and all the other peerless geniuses. One should know that Dao Hongtian had killed 3 immortal venerables, which was why he was ranked so high. Of course, this was also because of Hanshu Dao's dignity, which prevented him from fighting as much as possible, which resulted in him killing fewer devils and resurrected experts. What's the background of this Mu Xingfeng? Su Fang's divine light swept across Mu Xingfeng's body and found that this person's cultivation level had reached the peak of the early stage of the Tao realm. Judging from this person's blood qi, his cultivation time couldn't be more than 1,000,000 years. Moreover, his aura was ethereal, giving Su Fang a feeling that the heavens was unpredictable. This person's talent wasn't inferior to Dao Hongtian. Su Fang was also shocked. In his mind, Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect was the #1 sect in the immortal Dao realm. Dao Hongtian was the #1 disciple of Heaven's Mandate Haotsong sect, a peerless genius that only appeared once in 1,000,000 years. Who would have thought that such a young expert would suddenly appear? The great world was truly filled with hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Dao Hongtian said calmly, Mu Xingfeng's background is extraordinary. He is the only disciple of immortal fates, a hidden expert from the outside world. Immortal old man Tianji? It was another peerless expert that Su Fang had never heard of. Dao Hongtian replied, Immortal Tianji's strength is unfathomable, and he cultivates the mysterious Tao of heavenly secrets, which allows him to peer into the secrets of the heavens. It is said that his strength is at the same level as the sect's supreme grand elder. Mu Xingfeng has received the true teachings of immortal old man Tianji. His talent and strength are extraordinary. This time, he was sent by immortal old man Tianji to participate in the great war of immortals and demons. Dao Hongtian smiled. Su Fang, you've met a strong opponent this time. Don't let him steal the title of the #1 genius of the great world. I've never considered myself to be the #1 genius of the great world. If anyone wants it, just take it. Su Fang smiled carelessly. After a round of exclamations, the crowd began to compliment Mu Xingfeng. As for Mu Xingfeng, he seemed to be enjoying the compliment from the crowd. His face was full of pride. Mu Xingfeng scanned the war merit list with his divine light. He smiled disdainfully and said, Dao Hongtian has already been trampled under my feet. Where is Su Fang, the #1 genius of the macro world? Destined hero, you're really bragging. The people around him fell silent. Su Fang defeated the demon race's saint, Ming Yin, at the Dao Disciple competition. In the end, he ascended to the Heaven's Mandate stage and received the baptism of the Heavenly Dao. He was recognized by the Heavenly Dao, and his reputation as the #1 genius of the great world had spread far and wide. Not long ago, Su Fang killed the demon race's expert, Manju. This was a giant demon that was even more powerful than a mid-level Dao realm expert. Moreover, he swallowed 100,000 demons by himself and shocked the demon race's ancient expert, Demon Lord Manju. Such an impressive battle record was obvious to all, and no one dared to disrespect him. After Su Fang killed Demon Lord Manju, he wasn't able to exchange his head for war achievement. Therefore, his name wasn't on the war achievement list. No matter how extraordinary Mu Xingfeng's talent was, and no matter how strong he was still a peerless genius who had just made his debut. How could he be compared to Su Fang? At this moment, Mu Xingfeng's arrogant words made everyone feel that he was a little too arrogant. However, due to his strength, no one dared to refute him. Seeing everyone's expression, Mu Xingfeng snorted again. Destined hero, #1 genius of the great world? If you have the ability, you should compete with me on the war achievement list. What kind of destined hero are you just bragging about? Seeing that Mu Xingfeng's words were disrespectful to the destined Haotsong sect, Dao Hongtian showed displeasure and strode forward. He's the Taoist of the destined Haotsong sect, Dao Hongtian. Su Fang, Su Fong is also here. They're both Taoists of the destined Hao Tsang sect. Their status is high, yet they've also entered the Sky Ravine to hunt devils. The crowd exclaimed. Most of these people were cultivators of a younger generation. When they saw Dao Hongtian and Su Fong, especially Su Fong, they immediately showed a fanatical and worshipful expression and surrounded them. Mu Xingfeng harumphed coldly. His disdainful eyes swept across Dao Hongtian and Su Fong as he sneered. I'd like to see how outstanding these two Taoists of the destined Hao Tsang sect are. Exchange for war achievement. Dao Hongtian ignored Mu Xingfeng and struck out a Xianguang with his right palm. The heads of the devils and resurrected experts were swept out from his body. There were more than 300 of them, including one early immortal venerable devil venerable and one resurrected expert. There were also 7 or 8 peak Saint Immortals, and the rest were equivalent to Saint Immortals. After a round of verification, they were exchanged for war achievement points. Dao Hongtian's ranking on the war achievement list immediately rose to the 32nd place, second only to Mu Xingfeng. Dao Hongtian frowned for a moment, then returned to normal. Dao Hongtian is indeed the #1 disciple of the destined Hao Tsang sect. It's a pity that he's still not as good as Mu Xingfeng. Mu Xingfeng, the proud, peerless genius, became even more arrogant when he heard the discussions. He looked askance at Su Fong and said, "It's your turn." Su Fong shook his head with a smile. He walked to the table and asked, "The heads of the devils killed can be exchanged for war achievement points. After the verification, can I take the heads away?" The celestial venerable who was in charge of reviewing the battle merits couldn't help but be startled. Then he replied politely, "The heads of the devils that have been slain will be taken back after the examination. After some refinement, they will be devoured by the greater demon. However, the heads of the resurrected experts are useless. You could do whatever you want with them." "I see." Su Fong was slightly disappointed. The heads of the Devil Clan experts contained a vast amount of life essence, especially those of the Devil Venerables. They were the best resources for the big goblin's cultivation. Naturally, Su Fong was reluctant to hand them over. After thinking for a while, Su Fong took out the heads of the devils and resurrected experts from a storage ring and placed them in a large basket in front of the table. After a round of verification, Su Fong handed over more than 500 heads. One of them was a resurrected expert whose strength was at the intermediate stage of the Tao realm. The rest were Devil Clan experts and resurrected experts who were equivalent to 9 Saint Immortals. Most of them were resurrected experts. Intermediate stage of the Tao realm. The spectators were not the only ones who were shocked. Even the immortal venerable in charge of the verification was shocked. They looked at Su Fong with fear in their eyes. In the end, they were all exchanged for war achievement points. Su Fong's name finally stopped at the 35th place on the war achievement list. This ranking made everyone, except for Mu Xingfeng, greatly disappointed. However, after thinking about it, they understood. Su Fong had only been on the battlefield of immortals and demons for half a year. If he had participated in the great war of immortals and demons, with his terrifying strength of killing intermediate stage Tao realm experts, it was possible for him to rank in the top 30 on the war achievement list. How dare you call yourself the #1 genius of the great world and the destined hero of the immortal Tao with such results? Mu Xingfeng sneered disdainfully and left in embarrassment. Everyone fell indignant for Su Fong. However, Su Fong smiled faintly as if he did not care. He said to Dao Hongtian, "I'm really not as good as you. Let's go." Dao Hongtian transmitted his nascent spirit. "Do you still have the heads of the Devil Clan experts that you haven't handed over for war achievement? Even if I hand them over for war achievement, I won't be able to get any powerful treasures. It's better to keep them. As for those empty titles, I don't need them." Su Fong shook his head and smiled. In his storage ring, there were 2 corpses of Devil Clan experts who were equivalent to the early stages of the Tao realm. There were also more than a dozen Devil Clan experts who were at the peak of the Tao realm. If he took them out, even if he couldn't surpass Mu Xingfeng, he wouldn't be far behind. However, in Su Fong's opinion, it was meaningless. After resting for more than a month within the defensive line, Su Fong once again transformed into the ghost-faced Rakshasa and entered the sky ravine. This time he was alone. Su Fong used the ghost-faced Rakshasa and demonic chi as a cover to disguise himself as a Devil Clan cultivator. He repeatedly launched sneak attacks and left no survivors. In less than 3 months, he had reaped a bountiful harvest. 9 truths and 9 suns on this day. Su Fong penetrated a few hundred kilometers into the Devil Clan camp. This area was a forbidden zone for immortal Dao cultivators. Very few dared to come so close to the Devil Clan camp. His great perfection ability sensed over 100 Devil Clan experts 100 kilometers away. Among them were 3 Devil Sovereigns who were escorting a Devil Clan expert wearing a dark golden mask. They were flying out of the Devil Clan camp and headed straight for the Sky Ravine. A big shot from the Devil Clan has arrived. Su Fong sensed that the aura of the expert wearing the dark golden mask was somewhat similar to that of the Scarlet Nightmare, Demon Emperor of the Devil World that he had killed before. Moreover, there were so many experts around this expert, so he must be a royal expert of the Devil race. Su Fong's spirits were greatly roused. A ruthless glint flashed in his eyes. He could finally kill to his heart's content this time. Su Fong activated his blood transformation true form and flew directly in the direction of the Devil Clan's defensive line like a true heavenly demon. An hour later, Su Fong encountered the Royal Devil Clan expert escorted by over 100 Devil Clan experts. =our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1603. Young Master Qi Ming is here. Why aren't you kneeling at the side? A mid-level Dao realm demon reverend shouted coldly at Su Fong. The demon race had a strict hierarchy. Not only was young Master Qi Ming of the royal family, he was also the favorite son of the demon realm lord. His status in the demon race was very respectable. Even ordinary demon reverends had to kneel when they saw him. Young Master Qi Ming? I didn't expect him to be a demon realm young master. We have caught a big fish this time. Su Fong was surprised and delighted. However, he had no choice but to move to the side. He then knelt down on one knee and lowered his head. His eyes were cold. A demon race young master who is about to die. There is no harm in me kneeling to you. Young Master Qi Ming stopped in his tracks and looked at Su Fong with disdain. Your mask is not bad. Your strength is not bad as well. How many immortal Dao cultivators did you kill this time? Su Fong replied respectfully. Reporting to young master, I was unlucky. I was ambushed by a few immortal Dao cultivators. I was only able to escape by luck. Thus, I did not gain anything. You dare to return without gaining anything? You are really a piece of trash. Young Master Qi Ming snorted coldly. After that, young Master Crimson Radiance spoke to Su Fong and the devil experts behind him in a voice filled with killing intent. Return immediately. Also, all of you go and attract the immortal cultivators over. Today, this young master wants to hunt to my heart's content. Remember, try your best to lure those powerful immortal Dao cultivators. Devour those trash that can't even withstand a single blow. There is no need to lure them here and waste my time. Su Fong was startled. You want me to be the bait to hunt the immortal Dao cultivators? Young Master Crimson Radiance continued. I heard that the 2 great Taoists of the Heavens Mandate Hao Tsang sect, Su Fong and Dao Hung Tian, have also sneaked into the Sky Ravine and killed many experts of the Devil race. If you can lure the 2 of them to this young master's side, you will have contributed greatly to the Devil race. This young master will make the decision to give you a chance to enter the Devil God blood pool to cleanse your body. Many thanks, young master. More than 100 demon race experts were overjoyed as they charged into the depths of the Sky Ravine. Su Fong blended into the crowd of Demon Clan experts and flew out of the sensing range of those demon venerables. Then, without leaving a trace, he flashed into the spatial turbulence at the side. Then, Su Fong slightly used the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique to conceal his aura and release his full power. In the Sky Ravine, all kinds of sensory abilities were suppressed, and Su Fong's perfect stage ability was no exception. However, compared to a mid-level Dao Realm Demon Lord expert, he was much stronger. He could roughly see things 100 miles away, which was far beyond the sensing range of a mid-level Tao realm demon lord. Su Fong saw every action of young Master Crimson Light and the other devil race experts clearly through his perfect ocular power. Young Master Qi Ming had 3 demon reverend experts by his side, and 2 of them had reached the mid-stage of the Tao realm. Even they couldn't sense the existence of Su Fong, let alone the other demon race experts. Young Master Crimson Bright and the experts of the devil race spread out in all directions. They executed the devil race's mystical abilities and hid in the chaotic airflow. They planned to set up an ambush and treat the immortal cultivators as prey. This devil race's young master was truly arrogant to the extreme. Whoosh! An early-stage Tao realm demon, Lord Expert rode on a cloud of demonic chi and fled towards the direction of the devil race camp. Behind this demon, an immortal Tao cultivator chased after him. He stepped on a flying sword and chased after him at lightning speed. It's actually him. When Su Fong saw the face of this immortal Tao cultivator, he couldn't help but be stunned. This immortal Tao cultivator who was lured over by the devil race expert was naturally not Tao Hung Tian, nor was it anyone else. He was the newly risen, peerless genius in the immortal Tao world, Mu Xingfeng. In the Sky Ravine, one couldn't use the ability to break through space. One could only use movement techniques or use flying swords. Mu Xingfeng was currently using a peak grade flying sword. His body was surrounded by starlight, and there was a long tail of light behind him. He was like a shooting star, and his speed was unbelievably fast. Moreover, Su Fong felt that Mu Xingfeng had a mysterious and unfathomable aura on his body. It was clearly related to the Tao that he cultivated. In the blink of an eye, Mu Xingfeng chased after that devil expert and flashed not far away from Su Fong. Su Fong didn't even have the time to warn Mu Xingfeng. In the end, Mu Xingfeng fell into young Master Crimson Radiance's ambush. Die. Your head will be exchanged for a considerable amount of battle merits. Mu Xingfeng laughed proudly and was about to use his flying sword to kill the escaping devil race expert. I didn't expect that I didn't attract Su Fong or Dao Hung Tian and only attracted a small fish. I'm really disappointed. I can only reluctantly use him as a practice target. Swoosh! Swoosh! Young Master Crimson Radiance escaped from the turbulence. At the same time, the other devil race experts also appeared from the surroundings and surrounded Mu Xingfeng. I've been tricked. Mu Xingfeng's divine light changed, and he calmed down immediately. Although he was incomparably arrogant, as the disciple of immortal Elder Tianji, a top expert in the great world, he naturally wasn't some mediocre person. Even though he was surrounded, he didn't panic. Surround the surroundings. Don't let this small fish escape. Young Master Crimson Radiance actually planned to fight with Mu Xingfeng alone. After giving the order to the other devil race experts, his figure swayed and executed the divine Ghost Sky Devil movement art. His entire body was like a series of afterimages that shuttled through the turbulence in the spatial zone. He then burst out with a wave of devilish aura and attacked Mu Xingfeng with the momentum of dark clouds. 9 Nether Heaven Covering Hand. What young Master Crimson Radiance executed was the devil race's top cultivation technique, the 9 Nether Heaven Covering Hand. Many devil race experts had cultivated this kind of devil race divine ability before. However, the 9 Nether Heaven Covering Hand had a total of 9 levels. Other than the royal race, who could cultivate all 9 levels, the rest of the devil race could only execute the 6th level and below. Su Fong had also cultivated the 9 Nether Heaven Covering Hand and the divine Ghost Sky Devil movement art. However, he only cultivated the first 2 levels. Young Master Crimson Radiance was from the royal race of the devil race. The 9 Nether Heaven Covering Hand that he grasped was naturally the highest level of the devil world. After activating it, it actually released 9 faint black palm prints that covered the sky and the sun. It was as though it could suppress the heavens and the earth as it enveloped Mu Xingfeng. Young Master Crimson Radiance was indeed worthy of being the young master of the devil race. His cultivation level was equivalent to the initial stages of the Tao realm. However, the strength that he displayed now was enough to suppress an ordinary mid-stage Tao realm cultivator. So you are from the royal race of the devil race. Today, I am fortunate enough to witness the glory of the devil world's peak cultivation technique. However, you think that you can suppress me, Mu Xingfeng? You are overestimating your capabilities. Peek into heaven's secrets, break all techniques. Mu Xingfeng's eyes suddenly shot out a misty and mysterious light. It was as though under his gaze, there were no secrets in the heavens and the earth. In the next moment, Mu Xingfeng activated his flying sword and executed his movement technique. His body moved freely and gracefully, as though he was taking a stroll in the courtyard. At this moment, Mu Xingfeng was like a small boat in a stormy sea. He rose and fell between the peaks of the waves. He looked dangerous, but he was drifting with the waves. Every time young Master Crimson Radiance's attack was about to hit him, he would always be able to see the opportunity and dodge it skillfully. It was as though he could see the opportunity to strike first. Chi chi chi. Mu Xingfeng activated his flying sword and shot out streams of sword chi. The 9 nether heaven covering hand that young Master Crimson Radiance executed was extremely powerful. However, it wasn't perfect. The sword chi that Mu Xingfeng released wasn't very powerful. However, every stream of sword chi was extremely skillful and struck the flaws of the 9 nether heaven covering hand. One by one, the devil palm prints were shattered. What kind of divine ability is this? It is actually able to break my 9 nether heaven covering hand? Young Master Crimson Radiance was extremely shocked. How could a small devil race understand the supreme divine ability of the immortal Tao? Mu Xingfeng laughed proudly. He then activated his flying sword and released an unpredictable attack. It was as though he could predict every thought of young Master Crimson Radiance. When young Master Crimson Radiance executed his heaven and earth devil movement technique, Mu Xingfeng's sword chi would also land at the next location. This caused young Master Crimson Radiance to be flustered and had no choice but to defend himself. Gradually, young Master Crimson Radiance's attacks became lesser and greater. This was the result of Mu Xingfeng not using his full strength, as he was afraid of the devil race experts around him. Young Master Crimson Radiance might be extraordinary, but Mu Xingfeng's great Tao, divine ability, and innate talent were superior to him. This is the supreme divine ability of the great Tao of heaven's secrets. Not only is it able to see through the flaws of the enemy's divine ability, it is also able to see the opportunity and dodge the enemy's attack in advance. Furthermore, the sword art executed is able to seize the opportunity in every aspect. Such a great Tao is mysterious and incomparably powerful. If it is cultivated to the extreme, it can even see through the secrets of heaven. Su Fong was extremely shocked. No wonder this Mu Xingfeng was so arrogant. He did have the qualifications to be arrogant. Young Master Crimson Radiance isn't a match for Mu Xingfeng. However, there are so many devil race experts around him. No matter how strong he is, he won't be able to escape the fate of being suppressed. Mu Xingfeng was an exceptional prodigy of the immortal Tao. He had an arrogant temperament and looked down on everyone. Su Fong had an extremely bad impression of him, but he couldn't leave him in the lurch. Su Fong silently arrived outside the encirclement. The devil race experts outside the encirclement were all focused on young Master Crimson Radiance and Mu Xingfeng. Naturally, they wouldn't notice him. Even if they did notice him, they wouldn't bother about him. Young Master Crimson Radiance executed the 9 nether heaven covering hands to the extreme and forced Mu Xingfeng to retreat, after which he executed his movement technique and retreated. Young Master Crimson Radiance said coldly, "This young master actually underestimated you. So you aren't some small fish, but a big fish. Among the immortal Tao cultivators, you are definitely not weaker than Su Fong or Dao Hengtian. You could be this young master's cultivation tool. So what if Su Fong and Dao Hengtian are? They only have an undeserved reputation. They only have the status of heaven's mandate, Hao Tsong Sek's Dao disciple. Remember my name, Mu Xingfeng. This name will be the nightmare of all the devil race." Mu Xingfeng smiled proudly. He suddenly kept his flying sword and struck out a mysterious seal. In a split second, the surrounding energy, world power, and natural laws, including the omnipresent evil sun power, became incomparably chaotic. It was as if there was an invisible big hand that completely messed up the space. Mu Xingfeng's figure disappeared in the space. Equals underscore our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1604. He didn't really disappear. Instead, he executed a supreme divine ability to conceal himself from heaven's secrets. This included his aura and the surrounding light. It made it hard for anyone to see him with their naked eyes or sense his existence. Yin female sign 8, Yin female sign 8, Yin female sign, reading Yin female sign books. 2 Yin, the great Tao of heaven's secrets is indeed mysterious and unfathomable. It is actually very similar to the great Tao of heaven's secrets. However, Mu Xingfeng's great Tao of heaven's secrets is at the height of a great world. It is far from being as profound and vast as the great Tao of heaven's secrets. Su Fang could only use the great Tao of heaven's secrets to capture Mu Xingfeng's life aura. Only then was he able to sense Mu Xingfeng's location. He was instantly astonished. Attack! Suppress this immortal Tao ant. Young Master Crimson Radiance shouted coldly. Boom! 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 The surrounding devil race experts burst out with their aura at the same time and formed an array formation. An astonishing restraining force completely sealed the space within the encirclement. Within the array formation, waves of surging devil aura burst out and swept across like a raging tide. Mu Xingfeng's divine aura that concealed himself from heaven's secrets was immediately shattered. His body was revealed, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. After being attacked by so many devil race experts, the huge impact of the devil aura didn't just injure his internal organs and meridians. The devil aura even seeped into the depths of his body and caused great damage. As a member of the devil race's royal clan, you are actually so shameless. If you have the guts, fight me alone. Mu Xingfeng was shocked and furious. The devil race only looks at the results and not the process. We are not as hypocritical as you immortal Tao cultivators. Why do you care about rules? After falling into my trap, you still want to escape? It is your supreme honor to be able to become my cultivation nourishment. Normal immortal Tao cultivators don't have this qualification. Young Master Crimson Radiance laughed maliciously. His eyes under the dark golden mask flashed with a cruel and evil bloodlight. Then he transformed into a terrifying heaven devil and pounced towards Mu Xingfeng. PFFF, Mu Xingfeng forcefully activated his flying sword and burst out with a defensive aura. However, it was shattered by young Master Crimson Radiance's terrifying physical strength. Even the flying sword was struck by young Master Crimson Radiance's horn. The peak grade flying sword was forcefully broken. As for Mu Xingfeng, he was also sent flying by the force of the impact. Once again, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura was weak, and his entire body was covered in a layer of dense demon chi. Moreover, the demon chi was corroding his body from the inside out. Young Master Crimson Radiance laughed savagely as he attacked once more. He wanted to kill Mu Xingfeng in one move. Suddenly, an incomparably dazzling ray of light suddenly lit up. It was as if a divine sun had torn through the darkness, blooming with boundless golden light. It turned out that Su Fang had secretly let out the dragon bird and fired the sun god arrow at a middle-level Tao realm demon highness. The sun god arrow of the dragon bird contained the domineering and masculine power of the sun god. It had a fatal restraining effect on the devil race and resurrected experts. The surrounding experts of the devil race, including young Master Crimson Radiance, were all affected by the sunlight. Their hearts trembled as they revealed terrified expressions. As for the mid-level Tao realm demon venerable that was attacked, he was caught off guard and was shot by the sun god's arrow. Chi! The power of the sun god's arrow exploded inside the demon lord's body, shooting out beams of golden light. This expert of the devil race didn't even have time to let out a scream before his corporeal body was destroyed layer by layer under the power of the sun god. In the end, his corporeal body actually started to burn fiercely. The dragon bird kept on swallowing the vast yang pill and Su Fang's yang qi, as well as the heavenly fire in the extinguished earth and the divine fire in the divine weapon cauldron. At this moment, not only did its body grow to a size of close to 500 feet, the power of the sun god's arrow was also terrifying. Even Chi Ao, who was equivalent to a high-level Tao realm demon venerable, had to dodge the power of the sun god's arrow. It was naturally easy for the dragon bird to kill a mid-level Tao realm demon venerable with one arrow. The sudden change caused all the experts of the devil race to have an instant of astonishment and fear. Even Mu Xingfeng, who thought that he was definitely going to die, was stunned on the spot. In the blink of an eye, Su Fang, who had already circled behind young Master Crimson Radiance while all the devil race's attention was attracted, suddenly launched a fatal attack. Boom! In order to achieve an unexpected effect, Su Fang didn't execute any divine ability. Instead, he activated his sword pellet and instantly shuttled through the void to get close to young Master Crimson Radiance. At the same time, Su Fang also activated the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda and quickly entered his lifebound state. He punched out. Su Fang, who had fused with the powerful Big Goblin, experts, and 300,000 elite subordinates, had the power of this punch. It was enough to shatter a supreme-grade Dao artifact. Wherever the punch went, it set off an aura that could shatter everything. The void collapsed layer by layer. Its power was extremely terrifying. And, how dare you? Young Master Crimson Radiance was indeed a peerless genius of the devil race. He didn't have time to execute any divine ability to defend or dodge. Instead, he lowered his head and used the bloodhorn on his head to collide with Su Fang's fist. The bloodhorn was the toughest and sharpest part of a heavenly demon. Young Master Crimson Radiance's bloodhorn was able to shatter Mu Xingfeng's supreme-grade peak flying sword. It was imaginable how tough it was. Su Fang's fist collided with the bloodhorn. His fist was immediately pierced through by the bloodhorn. Soon after, his fist was shattered by the power contained within the bloodhorn. The power of Su Fang's fist was like an exploding mountain torrent. It landed solidly on young Master Crimson Radiance's head. The dark gold mask on young Master Crimson Radiance's face wasn't some decoration. It was a demonic artifact with extremely strong defensive abilities. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to risk using his head to collide with Su Fang's fist. In the blink of an eye, the mask released a dark gold demonic light, which quickly protected his entire head. Boom! The power of Su Fang's fist actually wasn't able to shatter the defensive power of the mask. After the collision, there was a loud explosion. PFFF, even though young Master Crimson Radiance's defense was extremely strong, a portion of Su Fang's power still managed to penetrate his defense. His skull was shattered, and his brain was turned into paste. He died on the spot. Young Master Crimson Radiance of the Devil Race entered the Sky Ravine with the intention of treating the immortal Tao cultivators as prey. He wanted to conduct a bloody and brutal hunt. He didn't expect himself to become the prey and die just like that. Young Master Crimson Radiance's death was truly unjust. He didn't expect that under the protection of so many Devil Race experts, he would actually be ambushed by a Devil Race cultivator. Young Master Crimson Radiance even underestimated the power of Su Fang's fist. He thought that the Bloodhorn would severely injure Su Fang's fist and that he had a defensive demonic artifact. He thought that he would be able to escape safely. In the end, he lost his life for no reason. In that instant, the surrounding Devil Race experts, as well as Mu Xingfeng, had yet to wake up from the shock brought about by the death of that Devil Lord expert. Once again, they fell into an intense shock and were unable to react in time. Su Fang's right fist shattered and blood spurted out from the wound. Within the blood, there were strands of black blood vessels. First, the blood vessels condensed into veins. Then, after the blood churned and squirmed, it quickly condensed into a new fist. With the yellow spring blood sea and the black lotus true body, Su Fong could condense a new corporeal body in the blink of an eye. This injury was merely a loss of some life force. Why aren't you leaving? Su Fong kept young Master Crimson Radiance's corpse into the true dragon world. He shouted coldly at Mu Xingfeng and released a godly aura that sent Mu Xingfeng flying. Following that, Su Fong waved his hand and kept the dragon bird into his body. At this moment, the dragon bird's strength had multiplied. It was no longer like before where it would exhaust all its strength after releasing the sun god's arrow. However, Su Fong wasn't willing to expose the dragon bird's full strength and didn't plan on letting it continue to attack. Activating the sword pill, under the effect of a godly aura that distorted space, Su Fong was about to travel through the void and leave. You killed the young master of the devil race, and you still want to escape? The remaining mid-level Dao Realm Devil Lord let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, he released a surge of devilish aura that soared into the sky and quickly condensed into a gigantic skull that was 100 feet tall. This sinister and terrifying skull was like a living creature. It let out a sinister and eerie laugh. It opened its mouth and took a deep breath. Instantly, the space became distorted, causing Su Fong's sword pill to lose its effect. The other devil race experts reacted as well. At the same time, they released a similar aura that converged into a frenzy and covered Su Fong. These people were responsible for protecting young Master Crimson Radiance. Now that young Master Crimson Radiance was killed right under their noses and a mid-level Dao Realm Devil Lord had fallen, none of the devil race experts present would be able to escape the wrath of the Devil World Lord. They might even implicate their own clansmen. Only by suppressing the culprit would they be able to lessen their guilt. They definitely couldn't count on their lives. It would be good enough if they could protect their clansmen's lives. These 300 over devil race experts were the absolute elites of the devil race. Ordinary devil race experts could not compare to them. At this moment, they released their aura at the same time. It was similar to a combination attack of the Grand Fusion Divine Art. Its might was extremely terrifying. Such a ferocious attack was something that even a high-level Dao Realm expert would have to avoid. Any aura or divine art defense would be instantly shattered. Su Fong's divine light changed instantly. He didn't dare to be careless at all. Boom! At this critical moment, Su Fong activated the world tree to the extreme. The might of the yin-yang world filled every corner of his body and then extended to the outside world. It quickly formed a world that was created by his own power and laws. At the same time, Su Fong quickly formed hand seals and executed the ethereal True Records Tao of illusion. This caused his own world to become even more stable. It was like a world that was independent of nature. Boom, boom, boom. The world that Su Fong created wasn't a space created by extracting the essence of the heavens and the earth, borrowing the power of the stars, or executing divine abilities and formations. Instead, it was a world formed from his own strength and the power of the laws. Its defense was incomparably powerful, and it was only 300 meters in size, but its stability was even higher. Under the attacks, layer by layer shattered. Su Fong's world shrank from 1,000 feet in size to 100 feet in size. However, it was still able to defend against this round of violent attacks. However, Su Fong also suffered a huge impact. The Tao Palace of Heaven and Earth shook violently. His Black Lotus True Body, Fire Cloud Emperor Body, Dragon Subduing True Body, and other true bodies also suffered heavy injuries. His face instantly turned pale. A mouthful of blood surged to his throat, but he forcefully swallowed it down. It's my turn. Xianming Lightning Archive. Su Fong retracted the might of the yin-yang world. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness. He flipped his right palm, and the Xianming Lightning Archive appeared in his palm. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1605. Su Fong used the life contraction art to destroy fate, as well as the Thunder of Destiny, then activated the Xianming Thunderdome, a terrifying lightning aura capable of destroying heaven and earth, as well as the invisible power of fate, engulfed the 300 or so demons. In the next moment, the rumbling of thunder suddenly sounded, and lightning flashed out quickly and violently. This time, Su Fong didn't target a single enemy with the Xianming Thunderdome, but a wide-ranging, indiscriminate attack. The Xianming Thunderdome. He's not a demon cultivator, but the number one genius of the immortal Tao, Su Fong. Su Fong, the fiend of the demon race. The Xianming Thunderdome. It was a peerless Tao treasure renowned during the primordial war of immortals and demons. It was also the Tao treasure that demons fear the most. In fact, they feared the Xianming Thunderdome more than some divine artifacts. Su Fong had defeated Ming Yin in the Tao disciple competition, killed the barbaric giant demon sovereign and 100,000 cultivators, and forced the barbaric god demon sovereign to retreat. Not only had his name spread throughout the immortal Tao world, but everyone in the demon race had heard of him as well. Since Su Fong had obtained the Yellow Springs Great Emperor's heritage, the Xianming Thunderdome had fallen into his hands as well. Now that he'd activated the Xianming Thunderdome, the demon powerhouses immediately recognized him. This name had a huge deterrent effect on the devil race. All the experts of the devil race instantly transformed their divine light. Rumble. The Xianming Thunderdome's main offensive ability was a wide-ranging attack. Now that Su Fong had locked onto all of the demons with the life contraction art, the Xianming Thunderdome's fearsome area of effect attack was on full display. Thunder boomed, shattering the fabric of space. Lightning aura swept out in all directions, covering the entire area with a terrifying destructive force. The demonic chi in the air was swept clean, and the skull in the air only lasted for a moment before it was reduced to ashes. The experts of the devil clans activated their defenses to the maximum. However, in the face of the might of the profound Nether Lightning Scroll, the defenses of these devil clans experts, who were equivalent to Saint Celestials, were shattered layer by layer. Then, their devil chi and fleshly bodies crumbled and were destroyed. Only 2 demon venerables managed to survive. Due to Su Fong's large-scale, profound underworld lightning scroll attack, the power of the attack was greatly reduced. However, their demon chi had withered, and their physical bodies were severely injured. This time, Su Fong had used the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique to push the power of the Xianming Lightning Archive to more than 90%. He had used up nearly a third of his life force, and his appearance had turned into that of a man in his 30s. His black hair had also turned silver. However, this loss was still within the acceptable range of Su Fong. Su Fong was about to transform into the Yellow Springs Blood Sea and devour the remaining demon venerables in one fell swoop to recover his life force. At this moment, the Heavenly Secret Life shrinking technique suddenly flashed with a mysterious destiny Tao rune in his mind. A strong sense of danger was born, and it was obvious that a huge crisis was about to arrive. Immediately after, his perfected ability sensed that countless Devil Clan's experts had charged out from the Devil Clan's defensive line, and they were charging into the sky ravine like a dark cloud. Young Master Qi Ming's strength wasn't very high, but he was an important figure in the devil world. His death in the sky ravine would naturally be discovered by the upper echelons of the Devil Clan, and they would immediately mobilize their army and charge over here. This place wasn't far from the Devil Clan's camp. With the Devil Clan's army in full pursuit, they would only need a dozen or so breaths of time to arrive. Who knew how many more Devil Clan experts were rushing over? Consider yourselves lucky to have killed a Devil Clan's young master. It's worth it. Su Fong smiled coldly. He activated the sword orb and shuttled through the void, disappearing from his original spot. Borrowing the sword orb's shuttling ability, Su Fong's speed was like teleportation. However, the sword orb wasn't suitable for long-distance attacks, and in the sky ravine, he couldn't use the ability to break through the void. After using the sword orb to travel a dozen or so miles, Su Fong switched to sword kinesis flight. Mu Xingfeng. Su Fong raised his eyebrows. In his heavily injured state, it was very difficult for him to even control his flying sword and maintain flight. Mu Xingfeng asked, "Who are you? Why did you save me? The Devil Clan's army is about to catch up. Why aren't you leaving?" Su Fong didn't have time to talk nonsense with him. He directly released a Yin Yang World's aura and wrapped him up. Then he controlled his flying sword and flew towards the immortal Dao's defensive line. Mu Xingfeng was incomparably arrogant, but now he was like a weak chicken. One could imagine the feeling in his heart. At the same time, he was secretly guessing Su Fong's identity. He thought that a high-level Dao realm expert disguised himself as a Devil Clan cultivator to save him. He was grateful towards Su Fong, and also in awe of Su Fong's strength. Swoosh! Swoosh! Over 100 Devil Clan experts and resurrected powerhouses appeared in Su Fong's great perfection vision. The Devil Clan army was like a tidal wave behind them. There were no less than 1,000,000 of them. "Looks like I poked a hornet's nest this time." Su Fong released the aura of a magic treasure and pushed the peak's supreme grade flying sword under his feet to the extreme. He quickly pulled away from the Devil Clan's army. Along the way, Su Fong encountered many immortal Dao cultivators and Devil Clan experts who were looking for targets in the sky ravine or fighting. "It's easy for me to escape with Mu Xingfeng, but these immortal Dao cultivators are out of luck. The immortal Dao cultivators who enter the sky ravine to hunt devils are all elites of the immortal Dao. It's not worth it if they lose their lives because of me," Su Fong thought to himself. When he saw a 9th Dao Saint Celestial fighting with a Devil Clan's expert, he suddenly came to a halt. The immortal Dao cultivators and Devil Clan experts immediately became vigilant when they saw outsiders. They stopped fighting and stared at Su Fong and Mu Xingfeng with hostility. Whoosh! The flying sword under Su Fong's feet shot out. The Demon Clan expert's defense and body were like paper as the flying sword pierced through his body. After a miserable scream, the Demon Clan expert died. "Take him in return." Su Fong threw Mu Xingfeng to the immortal Dao cultivator as if he was throwing a sack. Mu Xingfeng cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for saving my life, Senior. May I know Senior's name? I'm Mu Xingfeng. I'll definitely repay you generously in the future." "Senior?" Su Fong stared blankly and waved his hand, motioning the two to leave quickly. Mu Xingfeng asked in surprise, "Why aren't you leaving, Senior?" Su Fong coldly said, "Since the Devil Clan is chasing us so relentlessly, I'll teach them a lesson. I didn't kill them to my heart content just now, so I might as well kill them to my heart's content." Mu Xingfeng was shocked by the cold voice and the supreme, domineering aura. Although he was arrogant by nature, he wasn't so arrogant that he dared to fight against so many Devil Clan experts by himself. Mu Xingfeng was almost certain that this cultivator wearing the hideous devil face Rakshasa mask was definitely a high-level Dao realm expert, or even an even higher peak expert in disguise. "Be careful, Senior. If we have the chance to meet again in the future, Mu Xingfeng will definitely repay you generously. My master, immortal Elder Tianji, will also remember Senior's life-saving grace." Mu Xingfeng deeply bowed to Su Fong and then quickly left with the immortal Dao cultivator. Su Fong flew into the spatial turbulence in the sky. Then he struck out several talismans of the life-shrinking technique. After activating them, the talismans released a divine aura that could conceal the aura, covering an area of more than 10 miles. Then, Su Fong released Gui Ge, his big goblin subordinates, cultivators, and 300,000 elite subordinates. Under the divine aura of the heavenly fate life, shrinking art, even high-level Dao Realm Devil Clan experts would find it hard to believe that there was such an army hidden in the spatial turbulence. The Devil Clan pursuers would never have thought that Su Fong would have such guts. After killing young Master Qi Ming, he actually dared to set up an ambush here. Swoosh! Su Fong had just finished setting up. Hundreds of Devil Clan experts and resurrected experts swept past below. However, there weren't any true top experts among them. The strongest among them was only at the peak of the mid-level Dao realm. At this moment, there wasn't any huge battle. The top experts of both Immortal and Devil Clans were all living in seclusion and wouldn't appear easily. Young Master Qi Ming was killed in a hurry, so the top experts of the Devil Clan couldn't make a move in time. These Devil Clan experts quickly disappeared from sight. Su Fong didn't intend to make a move. Instead, he followed behind these Devil Clan experts while his subordinates stayed where they were. After a dozen breaths of time, the Devil Clan army came rolling in like a flood. Attack! Bai Ling shouted coldly. Zhu Huang, Tong, Tian Monster Venerable, and the other big goblin experts all shot out tens of thousands of poison runes. Chi Chi Chi. These poison runes were created by the true devil ghouls. The poison contained within them included devil poison, corroding devil poison, fire poison, and devouring devil poison. Even a mid-level Dao realm devil venerable expert would have a layer of skin rotting if he came into contact with it. After a series of explosions, the poison formed into thick smoke and poisonous flames that covered the sky and landed on the Devil Clan army. In an instant, sizzling sounds were heard continuously. As long as the Devil Clan cultivators came into contact with the poisonous smoke and poisonous flames, their skin and flesh would immediately fall off layer by layer. Those with lower cultivation were immediately corroded into a pool of blood. Those with higher cultivation had their skin and flesh torn open. It was a horrible sight to behold. Before the real battle, close to a third of the million Devil Clan army had either fallen or lost the ability to fight. The real attack had only just begun. First, it was the undying Black Tortoise. Its huge body fell from the sky and smashed the Devil Clan cultivators into meat paste. Then, Bai Ling activated the Chaos Ring. Zhu Huang and Tong Tian Monster Venerable also transformed into their true forms. With monstrous ferocity, they killed in and out of the Devil Clan army. Although the Devil Clan army was well trained, they were still in chaos in the face of such a sudden and fierce attack. In addition, there were no Devil Venerables in the army. How could they withstand the impact of Bai Ling and the other big goblins? They were instantly defeated. Kill! 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 Next, Su Fong's 300,000 troops used the Grand Fusion Divine Art and killed the disorderly Devil Clan army. The Devil Clan, who loved to kill, had always regarded immortal Dao cultivators and even ordinary people as weak chickens that could be killed at will. But now, the million Devil Clan army had become the target of slaughter. =R download address. Mobile reading, bibliographic review. Chapter 1606. The demon race was incomparably evil and cruel. Following the 5 upheavals, the demon race's overall strength had increased, and their temperament had also become more evil. In just a few short months of the Great War of Immortals and Demons, the demon race had turned the immortal world into a wasteland. In the eyes of the demon race, immortal Dao cultivators were weak chickens that could be killed and devoured at will. But at this moment, the million-strong demon race army was being slaughtered by cultivators and big goblins. And these cultivators and big goblins were even more cruel and powerful than the demon race. For a moment, these demon race cultivators had an illusion that the cultivators and big goblins who had ambushed them were the demon race, and they were the ant-like immortal Dao cultivators. Since the Great War of Immortals and Demons, the demon race had killed and devoured countless immortal Dao cultivators, civilians, and big goblin lives. The bloody and cruel slaughter brought them incomparable pleasure, making them crazy and intoxicated. At this moment, when they became the targets of slaughter, they fell into boundless despair and fear, just like the lives they had killed and devoured before. Su Fong's 300,000 elite subordinates each enjoyed resources comparable to special disciples of some immortal Dao sections. They were superior to the core disciples of the heavenly mandate Hao Tsang sect, so how could they not be powerful? Moreover, they were loyal and devoted to Su Fong and had experienced the great war of immortals and demons in the Square Heaven Great World. They hated the demon race to the core, so their attacks were naturally ruthless. In the beginning, the remaining demon race army was still stubbornly resisting, but under the attack of the poison talismans by Ling, Zhu Huang, and other big goblins, as well as the incomparably powerful Gui Ge, the demon race army could not organize an effective resistance. from chaos to defeat, they finally began to flee frantically. In just a short 30 breaths of time, of the million-strong demon race army, at least 400,000 were killed. The rest were scared out of their wits, and they fled into the surrounding spatial turbulence. Some demon race cultivators were like headless flies, diving into some extremely dangerous areas, never to come out again. The 100 or so demon race experts who had been chasing Su Fong had chased them all the way to the depths of the Sky Ravine before realizing that the demon race army behind them had been ambushed. They all exploded with rage and demon chi and charged back the way they came. Now, I'll let you have a taste of what it's like to be wantonly slaughtered. Su Fong used the life-shrinking technique to conceal his aura, hiding in a space turbulence that the Demon Clan experts had to pass through. Looking at the Demon Clan experts rushing over from afar, he sneered. Gigantified diamond body, Herculean divine palm. In the turbulent space, Su Fong formed a hand seal and released the majestic yin-yang world Zhenqi. His body flashed with dazzling golden electric currents, and his muscles and bones grew rapidly in reverse. He turned into a 500 feet tall monster. This was the true energy of Su Fong. It had been a long time since he had used the great gigantified diamond body. As the 9 Yang 9 transformations reached the 5th transformation and cultivated the world tree, Su Fong's yin-yang world qi had become even more profound, surging, and pure. The giant formed by the great gigantified diamond body had also reached an astonishing 500 feet tall. Naturally, its power had also increased dramatically. What kind of monster is this? Could it be an evil cultivator? As soon as Su Fong's giant form appeared, the oncoming devil race experts were shocked. Clang, clang. Su Fong struck out with his palms. 2 golden palms that looked like real palms flew toward a mid-level Dao realm expert with a shocking aura that could destroy heaven and earth. Break for me. The devil race expert's expression turned serious. He used all his strength, and his body immediately changed. He quickly turned into a heavenly demon and activated his devil art to defend against the golden palms. Papa! Su Fong's yin-yang world qi was a god-level power. The Zhen Qi of demons, devils, and cultivators were not worth mentioning in front of Su Fong's power. The Herculean divine palm was a divine-level divine ability that was executed using the divine-level force of the world of yin and yang. How could this demon lord resist it? This devil race expert turned into a heavenly demon. His strength was even more terrifying than a mid-level Dao realm expert. His physical defense was also extremely shocking. However, the Herculean divine palm's attack instantly shattered his defense. His flesh and bones shattered, and his flesh and blood splattered everywhere. He was sent flying like a cannonball. The huge impact swept out, causing the 5 devil race experts to spit out blood on the spot. Their bodies were also sent flying. On the other hand, the other palm print was like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Wherever it went, the experts of the Devil Clan below the level of demon venerables were swept away by the strong wind set off by the palm print. Their bodies were torn apart, not to mention those devils who were directly hit by the palm print. The incomparably tough bodies of the devils were like paper under the palm print and immediately burst apart. Whoosh, Su Fong was like a god of war. He took a step forward and killed the devil race experts, starting a bloody massacre. Boom, boom, boom. Su Fong, in his gigantified state, threw out a dozen punches in a row. They were powerful and domineering. Other than a mid-level Dao realm devil lord who barely managed to take a punch and was severely injured, the other devil race experts were instantly killed. Form the formation and kill this monster together. These devil race experts were indeed the elites of the devil race. After a dozen of them were killed by Su Fong, they quickly recovered from initial panic and formed the formation to counterattack Su Fong. Whoosh, after Su Fong returned to his normal state from the gigantified state of the diamond body, he formed a seal. His body suddenly shattered and turned into a blood water state, forming a sea of blood water that rolled in all directions. Yellow Spring Blood Sea. It's actually the Yellow Spring Devil Emperor's Yellow Spring Blood Sea. Su Fong, he is Su Fong. He is the immortal Tao cultivator who killed young Master Crimson Light. The devil race experts let out surprised and shocked cries. The power of their devil explosion technique landed on the yellow spring blood sea. Waves of blood rolled, and blood water soared into the sky. However, the blood sea did not collapse. As it surged, it knocked these devil race experts to the side, and the formation collapsed layer by layer. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The blood water suddenly spiraled and formed a huge whirlpool. It released a shocking reincarnation, divine might, and devouring power. At the same time, it ignited a raging fire cloud and swallowed the devil race experts. Under the dual divine might of Su Fong's yellow spring blood sea and illusory fire cloud, these devil race experts kept wailing and screaming. Their auras were disintegrated and burned, followed by their bodies. Some devil race experts frantically released their devil chi in an attempt to break free from the shackles of the reincarnation divine might. However, the result was naturally in vain. Only a mid-level Tao Realm Devil Lord expert managed to break free from the shackles of the yellow spring blood sea with his devil chi. However, his vitality was greatly damaged. After a dozen breaths of time, the voices of the devil race experts could no longer be heard in the yellow spring blood sea. There were no signs of struggle. Only the roar of the blood water could be heard. There were more than 100 devil race experts who came to kill Su Fong. Among them, there were 3 mid-level Tao Realm Devil Lords, 7 ordinary Devil Lords, and the revived devil race cultivators. The rest were elites and experts who were equivalent to the peak of the 9 Tao Realm or sane immortal realm. At this moment, almost all of them were wiped out. Whoosh, Su Fong's physical body returned to its normal state. The life force, Jinqi, and energy that Zhang Xian had expended earlier had been replenished by quite a bit. His appearance had reverted back to that of a 20-year-old. Even though he had yet to return to his peak state, it was no longer a threat to him. Devil Race. Su Fong took off his ghost-faced Rakshasa mask and smiled coldly like a god of death. This time, Su Fong was filled with joy from the wanton slaughter of the devil race. It was the first time he felt that killing could bring such joy. The rewards were not small. Just the corpses of several hundred devil race experts and hundreds of thousands of devil race cultivators were a huge amount of cultivation resources. Moreover, these devil race experts had invaded the immortal realm. Which one of them hadn't plundered a large amount of resources? There was also a devil race young lord. Killing young Lord Crimson Bright was definitely a heavy blow to the devil race's morale. However, it was undoubtedly a boost to the morale of the immortal realm cultivators. Although this kind of harvest couldn't be seen with the naked eye, its effects were immeasurable. It was difficult for Su Fong to digest so many devil race experts' corpses and resources. He had to store them first before slowly digesting them. Su Fong's strength and that of his subordinates would definitely increase greatly. This was the benefit of using battle to nurture battle. Let's go. Killing the devil race's young lord, hundreds of experts and hundreds of thousands of soldiers would definitely poke at the devil race's sore spot. How could the devil race let this go? Su Fong returned and put all his subordinates into the true dragon realm. He didn't even let go of the devil race cultivators' corpses that had been corroded into pieces by the poison. Su Fong released the power of the world and put all the corpses into the true dragon realm. Whoosh, Su Fong controlled his flying sword and shot out like lightning. He flew rapidly through the sky ravine. Half an hour later, forts and fortresses created by magical powers appeared in his sight. Su Fong couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Boom! A huge black warship tens of thousands of feet long broke through the waves in the sky ravine. It was as fast as lightning. The black warship flashed with devil runes and released a majestic and terrifying power that could shatter everything. The spatial rifts and turbulent whirlpools that made cultivators and devil race experts flinch only made the warship shake slightly. Thunderbreaker warship. Su Fong raised his eyebrows in shock. The Thunderbreaker warship was the devil race's weapon of war. Not only did it have the speed of lightning, but it also had the ability to control lightning. Its defensive power was extremely strong. This worship was somewhat similar to the Thunderbreaker worship that Su Fong had seen before. However, it was more than 100 times bigger than Nightmare Demon Emperor's Thunderbreaker worship. Its power and defensive power were definitely 100 times stronger. There were more than 100,000 Devil Race cultivators on the warship. They were all wearing dark golden armor and had violent auras. At first glance, one could tell that they were experienced elites of the Devil Race. On the bow of the warship, a middle-aged Devil Race man stood with his hands behind his back. His eyes were burning with angry devil flames. He was the commander of the Devil Race army in the Great War of the Immortals and Devils, Chi Ao Demon Venerable. Behind Chi Ao Demon Venerable stood more than a dozen Devil Race experts whose strength was equivalent to advanced Dao Realm Immortal Venerables. There were also resurrected experts, including those who had participated in the killing of Bright Sun Dao Sovereign and the resurrected cultivator from Buddhism sect. The experts of the Devil Race have come out in full force. Su Fong's scalp went numb, and a chill ran down his spine. =_ our download address. Mobile reading, bibliography.